I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Smith Radio, along with your host, Brian Smith, and
Carrie Smith,
giving you all the late-breaking, hitting news of the week, making sense of it all, wrapping it all up so you know what you're talking about come Monday morning at the water cooler. And this past week, nothing happened.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Ever. At all.
Well,
nothing.
Nothing?
For an entire week, there's zero.
Nothing. So we're going to go ahead and sign off.
You all have a good evening now.
Have a good one.
Catch us on Facebook, YouTube.
Wow.
Around the horn. Oh, let's give out the, let's plug and play. Let's plug in our audio for callers to call in, and we'll give out the...
Maybe they can update us on anything that happened that we may have missed.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so... Oh, nice. What do you got playing? What is that?
It's just...
Oh, that's pretty. That's pretty. What is that?
That was John Bonamasso.
Well, we're going to have to pay him royalties now.
Yes, he's actually a local favorite here in Cincinnati.
Oh, okay. Well, then he'll appreciate the donation.
Jazz and bluesy kind of guy. So for those who are listening live, you can call in right now, 772-49-SMYTH. You can call in right now. However, you may be on hold until we figure out what it is the news is all about this week. And I will have to say, we are not talking about the guy in white with the hat.
What kind of hat?
The Pope.
Oh, I was going to say, Trump was wearing a hat. It's a red hat, though.
Yes. Now, one of our loyal listeners I ran into this week, and she said, I've had it with all the coverage of the Pope.
Well, is she Catholic? Because I can
She
understand.
is Catholic. She's Catholic all her life and very...
Well, that just blows my mind because I totally understand it if you're not Catholic, because it's got to be a little annoying.
Well,
if you're not Catholic.
Well, here's the thing. The thing is that the news coverage was so much and so bad. It was, and now we're waiting for the Pope to come. The Pope is coming. The Pope's here. You know what the Pope said? Here's what he said. And then he flipped to the next station. You know what the Pope said? The Pope's here. You know what he said? He said. And he flipped to the next station.
Right.
The Pope's here. You know what the Pope said? He said. He said. The Pope.
And let's hear what the translator has to say.
I don't know why they have to translate it because John Boehner said that...
I thought you were going to say John Boehner's harder to understand than the Pope.
He is when he cries.
When he
Sniffling and speaks.
He's never sober.
It's like is that why it sounds like he has marbles in his mouth?
Yeah, I mean, that's what you sound like when you're completely sloshed.
Or have a mouthful of mouthwash. You try to speak with mouthwash.
Oh, you know why people drink mouthwash?
Alcohol?
Well, because they've been court ordered to stay away from the alcohol. And usually they're in some sort of a locked up rehab center.
Wow.
But they have to brush their teeth and freshen up.
Right.
So they have the Scope nearby.
No.
This hour brought to you by
Scope.
Wow.
My goodness.
So, that's the story I heard from a guy that was locked up in rehab. He wasn't in a voluntary...
But why would rehab have alcohol in rehab?
Well, this was back when you couldn't get mouthwash that was non-alcoholic. There was alcohol in mouthwash.
Why would you even use it? Just use toothpaste.
Well, because
don't even give
you have the right to sanitary conditions.
To sanitize yourself.
Right.
Okay,
right.
Fair enough. So so while the entire news media across the board, maybe not even, I don't think Rush was all over the Pope this week.
I'm trying to remember. It was a whole lot of,
Okay,
so
why?
Rush is not Catholic, and he was very quick to point out that there are very disturbing language coming out of the Pope.
Extremely so you're talking about what I posted.
But coming from Rush, it was kind of like, hey, this is what he said. Why do you think you'd say that? And do you realize that this is the kind of language that Marxists use? I'm not saying that he's Marxist. I mean, you tell Rush was being very careful about accusations and all that kind of stuff. And he would leave it open for other people to make the conclusions based on the facts at hand.
He does do that a lot, though.
Yeah, but he was especially careful to do it with the Pope, where he would just say, hey, these are the facts, this is what he says, this is what people who are Marxists say, why would he say that? And what does this mean? You pointed out something in a photograph. Do you have that nearby? Maybe we'll look that up real quick.
I do. I've got it.
It's a JPEG with a whole bunch of words in it because Twitter only allows a certain amount of characters, so you can't really get across much. So when you tweet, a lot of people that want to get a real good message across will tweet a JPEG with a freaking paragraph on it.
Right. So I belong to. I'm in a closed group. We are in a closed group called "Get Us Out of the United Nations." It's on Facebook. It's a really great group. I don't know why it's closed.
Well, because you don't want riffraff in there.
Yeah, and there is never riffraff. So it's a great group to be involved in if you want to get a lot of information all the time. But this is what they posted was a picture of the Pope, and this is what it said. It said, Pope went to Congress, gave a speech. 1, never mentioned Jesus. 2, did not pray. 3, did not call people to repentance. 4, did not present the gospel. 5, did not call people to faith in Christ. 6, spoke mostly like a modern secular humanist. 7, spoke as if the world's problems could be solved without Christ. And they also said that everybody in the world needs to accept all these immigrants, bring them in. And
No. He was specifically talking to the United States.
Right. You need to bring all the immigrants to America. And Trump said, he tweeted this. He said, talk is cheap. Let the refugees stay at the Vatican.
Ooh, I did not. See, I get Trump's tweets instantly. And sometimes if he puts them out there in rapid fire succession, I may miss a couple.
And I'm going to tell you something about Trump and this whole social media. He is dominating social media as if he has a whole team.
This is going to be talked about for years.
A team of people in a room.
But it's not.
Trapped in a room and fed massive amount of information 24/7. And this team is just blowing out tweets, blowing out stuff just everywhere. He is dominating it exponentially more than Obama did back in 2012.
He doesn't hardly tweet at all, Obama.
Well, but I mean, he used the social media platform better than the other ones running back then.
All of that, and I'm sure this will be talked about for 50, maybe even 100 years. It's all child's play compared to what Trump's doing. Trump is charting new territory when it comes to using social media as a politician during a campaign. I mean, if you look at the history of politicians using tweets and Facebook posts and all that kind of stuff, it's a joke compared to what Trump is doing. And I think the reason is because most politicians are worried, man, if I say the wrong group of words, wrong phrase, wrong sentence, oh man, it's going to be ugly. And even everybody went off about Trump retweeting somebody who called Megyn Kelly a bimbo.
Right.
And they tried to make that be the end of his campaign.
They tried to say that and for those of you who are not Twitter savvy, and I've learned this from Carrie, just because you retweet a tweet doesn't mean you're responsible for the words that were
or even
retweeted.
You don't even have to condone or support the message of the retweet, which is really weird. Yeah.
So if somebody posted up there, praise Barack Obama for he is the almighty Messiah, and I accidentally, in a brain comatose,
A seizure.
right, accidentally clicked retweet, that doesn't mean I agree with that.
Right. You could actually retweet that and say, look at this bonehead.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
but you don't
okay.
even have to say, look at that bonehead. If you have, like for me, I have this really large conservative libertarian group of followers, and I follow almost nothing but that kind of group. I shouldn't say that that's what I follow, but the people that follow me are very conservative, very libertarian, all that kind of stuff. Well, if I retweeted somebody that said something very leftist, they all would know. They wouldn't say, "Oh, it looks like Kerry's become a communist." No, they wouldn't say that. They would know that I'm pointing out that there are people out there that are tweeting this nonsense, and I just wanted to retweet it so you guys could see the enemy within.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess that makes sense. I can see that.
And there's also a separate button that you press to favorite the tweet. Obviously, if you favorite a tweet, that is when you condone it.
Oh. So
And here's the story behind retweeting. Let's say a plane hits. Let's say we had Twitter during 9/11.
okay.
And plane hits the tower. Somebody takes a picture of it on fire, and everybody that followed me would retweet that. And then everybody that those people followed would retweet that. And all of a sudden, the news cycle ends up being driven by Twitter, because whatever's trending in Twitter is what is going to be the news of the day. Oh. That's why Twitter is absolutely, practically the law when it comes to mainstream news outlets.
Oh, that's
They're
so funny.
always looking at what's trending in Twitter. And if something's trending, it must be newsworthy. And that's how that works. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So
you heard it here first. We are educating the baby boomers on what Twitter is all about.
That's right. But let me tell you, when you first get into Twitter, you're going to be like, I don't get this, and this is not useful. The worst time to use Twitter is, I'll tell you when the most annoying. Remember the Mayweather fight? The fight of the century, Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao. Right. So Floyd Mayweather fighting Pacquiao was like the fight of the century. I mean, it was weird how much fanfare was circulating around that. Well, I wasn't going to pay $100 to watch the pay-per-view.
Right.
And any attempt for me to get it illegally was just not working out. So,
and I know someone who attempted to get it illegally, because apparently there was some kind of live streaming.
Yeah, there were several different ways that you could kind of bootleg it live.
But his stream kept locking up, and
there's all kinds of problems.
It never flowed.
Yeah, so for those who produced the event that were hoping that it wouldn't be pirated, they nailed it. It was not pirated.
Okay. Well, not only was it not pirated, but what happened? The lowest viewing.
Oh no! It was the biggest. It was huge.
Pacquiao.
Oh yeah, it was.
Was that the one where you said that you'd go to BW3s and they didn't have it because they wanted to charge them $5,000?
Oh yeah, there was a whole bunch of them, whole bunch of bars that said we can't do it.
Well, and they were saying that that less people watched it because,
but they were charging double what they normally do.
Right, and nobody
made more. They made more money than ever.
Maybe so, but people like you and me didn't have house parties where we paid $50 and all our friends chipped in. That wasn't happening. BW3s wasn't showing
right.
it.
Well,
so maybe they charged $100 per person. That's fine, but still,
I think they had big viewership because they had mainstream media really hyping it up. I mean, they had. Well, anyway, so
I was so irritated with that though.
I was upset that I didn't get to watch it, but then when I heard how boring of a fight it was, I was pretty happy. So, but there were a lot of people out there that dumped the money on that because he didn't want to miss the fight of the century. Right. So anyway, my point of this story is I wanted to explain to you the worst use for Twitter ever.
Okay.
I wanted to get a play-by-play of the Mayweather fight. And there was a hashtag.
Okay.
There was like a Mayweather versus Pacquiao or Pac-Man versus hashtag. So if you follow that hashtag, you'll get all the tweets from people who put that hashtag in their tweets.
Okay, so you'll be able. So if I start tweeting
and you put the hashtag,
then you'll see it.
I'll see it if I follow that hashtag.
Okay.
So I said, great. I'll follow the fight hashtag.
Okay.
And I'll be able to literally watch, kind of like the Matrix. Remember the Matrix when they're looking at the little characters, and he claimed, I could see there's a hot blonde in a red dress, and there's, even though you're literally just looking at characters on the screen.
Right.
Twitter's kind of like that in some ways, where just reading tweets and watching the trends and following certain hashtags and keeping up on it and reading them, you can actually get a good mental picture of what's going on. So I thought, this will be great. I'll be able to watch it virtually through Twitter. Huge fail. Don't ever do that. Don't watch any type of specific event and hope to get anything useful out of it whatsoever.
Oh, wow.
I ended up getting floods. And keep in mind, millions upon millions of people were watching this damn fight, and they were all tweeting. I ended up getting just flooded with tweets saying, he nailed him. And, that was a good one.
No.
Yes, completely useless information.
No.
He got him. Did you see that? Those were the tweets I was getting.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, and here's another thing. If it was a Pacquiao fan, they would tweet that he totally won that round. Okay. And if it was a Mayweather fan, they would say Mayweather totally won that round. So you were getting all these biased tweets. It was the most miserable experience. I didn't get nothing out of it at all. And after the whole thing was over, I read reports on real journalism outlets like fightnews.com, and I would read the post-fight reporting on it by a real journalist.
Okay.
And there was some bias. There was some people that didn't like Mayweather that wasn't too kind to him in their reporting. But that was the only way I was able to recap the fight, because Twitter itself is miserable for that.
Hey, just want to give you guys a heads up real quick. If you do follow us on Twitter, it's Smith Radio.
Okay.
Do you do a hashtag Smith, or you just search Smith Radio?
It's twitter.com/Smith Radio.
Okay, there you go. You go there, follow us, and you'll see as soon as we go live on the air, you'll see it. We're posted there, and there's a play button to automatically play the streaming audio of our live show from Twitter.
But it's not live, though.
It's within a couple of seconds.
Yeah. I thought it wouldn't go up until it was over.
Well, if I post it correctly.
Oh, really?
Right. However, you'll get, after the show's over, it'll repost it again saying show's over, but listen to it in
so
past.
It becomes a podcast. The cool thing about our show is you can listen to any of our episodes for free. Just go through them in chronological order. It's reverse chronological, so the most recent post will be the latest post, and then you can go backwards from there.
Right.
We've been on the air for well over a year, like a year and a half now.
Oh, yeah.
And we go every single Sunday, and they're all up there, and including some bonus tests and
bonus test tracks and behind the scenes.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's like the most valuable information you can ever get anywhere on the web.
Right.
It's as simple as that.
So we talk about this a lot, where we'll say that that the mainstream media, the mainstream media, will cover for Obama, for whatever happens.
Well, that's an understatement.
Yeah, and I started thinking about all this coverage of the papacy and his bashing of capitalism, and how social programs is the only way to make it work. And
I'm all for social programs in the church.
Yeah.
Why? What?
Yeah.
Why are we pushing? Why are we in Congress? Why are we in Congress telling them that we need social programs?
So when they say that, we need to help people. They're starving. They're dying. Okay, 100 years ago, back before any social program, I don't even think you have to go back 100, maybe 75.
It all started with Wilson.
Right.
Actually, Teddy Roosevelt was the first
early
one.
1900s, right.
He was the first one to say, you know what, we're going to start pandering. So he would go into the middle of the slummiest part of the biggest city. He would go to like New York City. Well, come to find out, there would be immigrants similar to, I'm not knocking Mexicans, but back then when it was Irish. Or Germans, they were doing the exact same thing. They would come to America and they would find their buddies and they would say, dude, I need a place to lay down and sleep at night. So they'd have these tiny little tenement apartments, turn of the 20th century, where there'd be 20 people in a studio apartment.
Nice.
And so he would go in, he would find out.
Expose it.
He would send scouts.
Oh, to scout out the territory and
make sure. Yeah, because you always want to know.
Because you don't want to have a Geraldo Revolto moment.
Exactly right. Even Teddy Roosevelt knew you don't want to go down the Geraldo Rivera route. So he would send scouts out to make sure that he was going to open up a door and shock the world. And so that's what he'd do. He'd knock on a door and open it up, and there'd be 20 people in a studio apartment all slumming it out. And then he would say, this is an outrage. This should not happen in America. We need to do something about it. And then that would be the first start of the push for legislation to ensure that people didn't have to live in those kind of conditions in America.
Right.
Not realizing that those people, without any type of government program, were going to work hard and do the American dream and probably be wealthy one day. But you got to start somewhere.
Right.
But that wasn't the point. The point was, if you can get the American public to buy into using extra money and paying for extra stuff in government, that's more money that the government has to play with. And the more money they have to play with, the more power they have. And the more money they take from you, the more power they take from you. And power, and it ends up comes in the form of freedoms and stuff like that.
Right.
Or just having the money. I mean, what would you rather have at the end of a long work week? $1,000 to pay for, extra fun stuff, or $600, where
right.
$400 of it goes to the government so that they can do things with it that.
And if
they don't think you would do.
If you knew what they were doing with your tax dollars, you would be throwing up in your mouth so much, it would be nonstop. I mean, I'm not joking, folks.
It would be like a river.
It'd be a flowing river.
It'd be like the Keystone Pipeline.
It would be. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that money shouldn't be done, that our money shouldn't be taken and used for such illegal, erroneous programs, murdering babies for one,
and it
supporting criminal regimes like Iran. Our money's going there. Tax dollars here, tax dollars there. It shouldn't. That's not what it's for. And if you go back 100 years ago, say just before Teddy, when America was still getting its start, was still in the Industrial Revolution. I mean, people were living out in the woods, no water, no running water, no toilets. It was an outhouse. So, I mean, everybody was it was really rural, if you will. But where did they go when they needed help? They went to the church. That's where everybody went. Everybody went to the church. Everybody depended upon the church, which is what you should. It's the body of Christ, the church. That's why everybody would come so close together.
So what would you say to people who really, truly, honestly, just flat out don't believe that there is a God? That's their religion. Their religion is atheism. They believe with all their heart that there is no God.
That's fine. Go to the church and get help. They'll still help you.
That's absolutely right.
But our church will. There's no question about it.
Or they walk in and say, "Look, I need help, but I just want to let you know, don't be pushing your God stuff on me."
And he would be like, "All right, that's cool, bro. What do you need?
There you go.
Whatever you need. We're here for you. When you want to come back, we're here."
I know you don't believe it, but Jesus loves you.
I don't know if they would say that. Maybe. I don't know. But
there's definitely churches out there.
So the communists realized very quickly that if we can get the people to depend upon the government rather than the church, we can then nip it two things we nip in one stone, two birds with one stone. We get rid of religion dependency, and we can get them to be dependent and religious to us.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that believe in the government as if that is their religion.
That's their church.
Right.
They show up to it, and then that's it.
I mean, when you're getting handed out,
worshiping the leaders,
right?
That's a problem.
I mean, what did Jamie Foxx say?
What did he say?
I want to thank our Lord and Savior, Barack Obama.
Oh, no.
Mr. Producer, we ain't got that queued up.
Oh,
He's saying that was 2010. That was too long ago. Wait, see if you can find that, Mr. Producer.
it's gonna have to go through the Scrollodex.
Don't we have like they should make a search button.
He has a file cabinet with CDs in it.
No, it's a file
LPs.
With LPs, and it's set up like the Dewey Decimal System.
Oh, well, that's how you find things quickly.
No, they said that the Dewey Decimal System is not very convenient.
Some guy just said, hey, let's just do something by the power of 10. We got 10 categories. Let's just figure out how to divide everything that you could make a book with into 10 categories.
Okay.
And then people love it.
First of all, giving honor to God and our Lord and Savior, Barack Obama.
What? Oh, that's so ugly.
That was at the Soul Train event of sorts.
I cannot imagine.
Why didn't that make national news?
Oh, it did.
I mean, why doesn't it still? I mean,
why didn't it stick?
I don't know. It didn't seem like it stuck very long.
That
was pretty good, Mr.
I
Producer.
About it.
Thanks for pulling that up so
it's
quick.
Amazing.
Wow,
amazing.
That Dewey Decimal System really works.
he went right to it.
He's got it burnt on LP. Do you burn an LP?
No, it's a machine that will put the groove right into the vinyl.
Okay,
in the form of a wave.
So I am this whole. I'm not skipping beat here, but this whole thing called memes.
Yes, all the low information voters just turned you off right now.
Right, meme. Meme.
Yeah.
Okay, so for all of you baby boomers, a meme is a picture.
Well, it doesn't have to be. It could be a video too, couldn't it?
No, I think it's a picture with words or caption or like
I guess so. So it has to be a picture.
I think so. Okay, so memes of Trump are going like gangbusters. Like I'm seeing all these photos of Trump, and everybody is like one has him dressed up like Batman and the bat symbol in the sky, and it says "Calling Trump," and then there's a couple other ones.
For what purpose, though? What are they calling him for?
To save America.
What? He's 7 years. Okay. He's the Joker.
Okay, hold on.
He's the Joker.
Trump?
No.
I'm on Trump.
I thought you said
Trump.
Obama. I'm sorry. I'm about to lose my mind. I swear I thought you said Obama. Okay.
So check this. This one I saw this morning. I was half awake. I saw this morning, and I about lost it. Back in the day, for those of you in Westwood, you're going to have to Google this. Back in the day, there was an actor called Charlton Heston.
Oh, yeah.
And if you go back and look at him when he was young.
Like Ben-Hur?
This is the movie, Ben-Hur. He has a loincloth on.
Okay, yeah.
And he is a strapping young lad, the early black and white version of Arnold Schwarzenegger, if you will.
He wasn't that big, was he?
Oh, he was cut.
Yeah, and plus he has a prominent jaw.
Yeah, like a stone chiseled jaw.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so in this movie, Ben-Hur, he picks a woman up, throws her over his shoulder, throws her up. So somebody ingeniously found that pic and did this with it.
Oh, they replaced Charlton Heston's head
with the woman over his shoulder still, and he's walking.
So it's a snapshot of him with the woman thrown over his shoulder, but his head. I could see what you mean by Arnold Schwarzenegger because he's very cut,
and so it's Trump's head on that body.
Trump is his head is on Charlton Heston's body. The woman he's carrying, they replaced her head with the Statue of Liberty's head. Oh, that is hilarious.
And it says Trump rescues America.
And he's holding this dagger.
It's like a big giant Bowie knife that you could like kill a bear with.
It looks like if you were to ask him what he's doing, or if she were to ask him, he would say, "I'm gonna protect you," because he's got her in one arm over his shoulder and a knife in his other hand, like he's protecting her.
Right.
This is great stuff. I did not see that meme. And by the way, a meme for those of you
the definition.
baby boomers.
Now, are we on Wiki? Are we on Google? Where's the definition? Is this Urban Dictionary?
Well, no. Google has its own dictionary now.
What?
Anytime you're on Google, if you type in the word define and then the word,
right.
In this case, define meme,
right.
Google, the first thing right up front and center at the top is its definition from its dictionary.
Hold on,
so it's like a Google dictionary.
Okay, let me get there. HTTP
:// I think it's 2 backslashes.
Yeah. www.
Yep. 3 W's.
3 dot. GOOGLE.com.
I thought it was GOOGOL.
GOOG. Okay, Google.com. Okay. Oh, there you go. And then hit the word hit define.
Define meme. Well, anyway, let me tell you what it is while you're doing that stupid stuff. An element of a culture or system of behavior, which, by the way, the definition of culture is system of behavior, whatever, that may be considered to be passed from one individual to another by non-genetic means. That is the most overly technical definition I've ever heard. And last is especially imitation. So that's the actual technical definition of meme. They also add to it a humorous image, video, piece of text, etc. So it could be practically any type of medium that is copied, often with slight variations, and spread rapidly by internet users. So
it's got to go viral.
It's pretty much a viral, but it's not just viral. See, there's a viral video. Here's what a viral video is. A viral video is where it has so much entertainment or information value that it's perfectly copied and spread to everybody but not changed. A meme is a cultural thing, medium, that somebody will add to or change. And it could change over and over and over depending on who receives it and who makes the change. Like that one meme with the Olympian with her face is she's an Olympic medalist, and she had this goofy look on her face. I can't remember. I'll have to look it up. But anyway, people were there's so many memes out there. You could Google best memes, and there'll probably be like a million different example of. I'm gonna actually look one up here real quick. There's a best memes 2015.
So here's the Google actually gives you. Let's see if this works.
Meme.
Okay.
Meme.
You click on the little audio button next to the word.
Meme.
Well, were you worried that it was pronounced meme?
I wasn't worried. Were you?
No.
Well, why would you?
Well, now we know for sure.
Love.
What are we doing?
Love.
What are we doing here?
I just want to make sure it works.
Oh, you are killing me. Yeah, there's so basically a lot of times memes will happen through photos because there'll be like a specific photo that's funny.
Pope.
Here's a perfect meme. This is a good example. Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka.
Everybody has seen that. Yeah.
Okay, so he's sitting there looking right at the camera with his head on, with his elbow on his desk and his head on his hand, with this look on his face. And you could put any caption in the world in there. And every time somebody gets it, they change it to something new. That would be considered a meme. So anyway. That was a long-winded description of a meme.
So these memes are out of control with Donald Trump. I'm telling you.
Of course.
We've got an Instagram account now. We're really with the times. And if you go to Instagram, Don't follow Playboy. Oh my goodness.
Why would you follow Playboy?
Well, I thought Instagram was like an not adult content, which it isn't. It's kind of like Facebook. You can't put adult nudity and stuff like that up there.
Okay.
But
I didn't know
somehow,
that. I'm not familiar enough
right.
with Instagram to know one way or another.
So don't follow some of these people. Oh, it's ridiculous. So some of the other memes are just unbelievable. They've got one where it looks like George Washington is standing on top of a volcano that's exploding. It's like in a war battle zone. He's got the eagle on his arm and it's raised in the air and the flag's flying in the back. And people have changed Washington's head to be Trump's head.
Oh.
They're just putting Trump's head on everything.
The thing about... I read an article today from one of my Twitter followers.
Okay.
She was basically giving her opinion on all of the top 5 most popular GOP candidates.
Okay.
And she just loves Trump. And she pointed out his leadership and all that kind of stuff. But one thing that's really interesting about Trump, and I've been following politics for so long, it's unbelievable. It's like 30 years now, or maybe 25 years. I'll say 20. I've been following politics for about 25 years. And I don't remember a candidate being this bipartisanly supported. Like, there are liberals out there that are like, yeah, we need him.
We've got these 2 followers. They're so awesome. They're 2 black older ladies, and like that's their handle on YouTube, 2 black ladies or something like that,
Okay.
right? And so they come on. One of them just starts screaming, and she blows up, and the other one sitting next to her goes, "Yep, that's right. Mm-hmm, that's right."
You don't have the audio of that?
No, there's a lot of cussing.
Oh, is there?
I couldn't.
Really?
Well, I mean,
2 old ladies is cut.
well,
just
when I say
cussing?
old, I mean like 40s or 50s.
I think it's more like 50s or 60s.
Were they?
I
Yeah.
thought I saw
okay,
a picture,
it was.
the video. Yeah.
So
I didn't know there was cussing on
so
it,
one
though.
one rants, and I looked at my daughters and I said, "Hey, I want to play this for the show." And my daughter's like, "Why?" She's only 7. She don't get it. She's watching the video with me, and she's just wide-eyed and don't get it. Anyways, these ladies are for Trump.
But they may be Republican.
That's fine, but they're screaming.
They're not for Cruz and all them. They're
No.
for Trump.
Right, and they're screaming to the black base.
Oh, that is true.
If
That
you
is
will.
true. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is fine. It's hysterical. I love them. I think they're funny as all get out.
It just has, there's a real common sense feel to it. Like, guys, look, you need to be following Trump.
Right.
Yeah. Well, so the reason that this person wrote this article was all about Trump showing and demonstrating and having a long history of real leadership and success in negotiations. Whereas you got Marco Rubio, she blasted at all of them.
Right.
She even blasted Cruz.
Right.
She said Cruz is the most palatable one, but he's an insider too. He's been in the Senate and not able to. He's inflexible on everything. Which I'm going to be honest with you.
I want somebody inflexible.
I know, and that was the part of her article that I did not agree with her with, because she kind of made it sound like people in Washington are there in their little law factory.
Right.
It's a big factory, and we need to be productive. We need to pump out laws. We need to have more laws per hour than ever.
And here on Smith Radio, we advocate sending people to Washington, D.C., and their job once a week is to remove a law.
Well, I think there should be a 1-to-1.
Oh,
You make a law,
if
you have to remove
Okay,
one.
so how many, what is the max number?
Max number of what?
Laws.
Well, no, if you make 100 laws, you have to remove 100.
But if you start at 0, then you have 0.
Well, no, we have way more than that.
Okay, so we're at a good starting point to start that 1-to-1.
Oh, yeah. Actually,
Okay.
Maybe
1 to 2.
Remove 2. If you make one law, you better remove 2. Right.
Yes. So apparently the media is definitely trying. They've been desperate to just destroy Trump in a sense that they don't want him to be that guy. And this week they came out and they've been saying that, oh, Carly Farini.
Fiorina.
Ferrari. She sounds like a race car driver.
Does she?
I said that last week. I know our.
You mean her name sounds like a car?
Yeah, our listeners.
She should have just been called Mercedes.
Right. So we've got listeners out there that are die-hard Carly fans.
Oh, you think she sounds like a car because her first name is Carly?
Oh, so Carly, car, and then Fiorina, Ferrari.
Yeah, car Ferrari.
Ferrari.
We're just going to start calling her Car Ferrari now.
That's for you, listeners who love her so much. Car Ferrari.
All right, so Car Ferrari.
They were blowing up. The media was putting out articles saying she's catching up to Trump in the polls. She's
not really.
She's doubled her numbers.
Yeah.
When you read the article, though, she's getting closer. When you read the article, she went from 4 to 8 to 9, and Trump went from like 32, and they're like pushing him down to like 26. So they're really trying to fudge the numbers. But anyways, the poll released last week was Trump at 32, Carson at 12, Bush at 11, Fiorina at 6. So I don't know what to tell you, folks. I mean, there are a lot of different polls out there, but I have not seen a poll yet that has anybody in any serious competition with Trump right now.
Well, and we need to put things in perspective. First of all, the theory is, and nobody really knows for sure, the theory is that the 30% support he's getting is from Republicans.
Right.
So
all these poll numbers, yes, are all polled from likely voters. And, they also said some of the polling that it's Republicans and independents.
Okay, so
he's got the independent vote locked up.
Everybody knows that no matter who the Democrat nominee is, they're going to get 46%, 47%, no matter what, of the whole entire country.
Right. Correct.
Of everybody that goes out and casts a ballot,
46%.
47% will go to whoever the Democratic nominee is. So that leaves about 53% of the entire country who would vote for anybody but the Democrat nominee, right?
Right.
Well, that leaves, out of that 53%, only 30% of them are supporting Trump, which is about 15% of the whole country of likely voters.
It still seems like a lot.
Well, I guess
he needs more, obviously.
Yeah,
and I mean, when it comes down to it and we have our nominee, all the numbers will flow to that nominee. Listen up, Tea Party members.
Oh, yes, please listen.
Listen up, extreme conservatives, religious Republicans, everybody on the far fringe right, as they call it. Listen up. It may be too late, but you still got to get out and vote. Get out there and vote.
You need to get out of this mindset that we're going out, we're supporting a candidate, and we're supporting their cause, and we're supporting all this stuff. No. That may be true, but at the end of the day, what your really most important thing that you need to be thinking is you have to stop and prevent the onslaught of our country by communists and the Communist Party of the DNC.
Right.
It's as simple as that. And when you fail to vote for John McCain in 2008,
you actually gave a vote to Obama.
You're letting communism win. When you fail to vote for Mitt Romney, which seemed like a bigger problem, more people supported John McCain, and I think what happened is a lot of people who were okay voting for John McCain felt so disenfranchised that when Mitt Romney was their nominee, they were just like, you know what, I'm sending a message and I'm going to sit at home. Well, guess what? You just may have put the nail in the coffin of the last bastion of freedom on earth.
And we voted for Mitt Romney. I certainly did. Yes, he is a GOP establishment guy. And yes, things have come out about him that aren't such the great. You will never, ever, ever. Listen, I'm telling you, baby boomers and young children alike, all y'all out there listening, listen up. You aren't teaching anyone a lesson by setting out. Yes, you've got to pull the trigger for whoever the nominee is, because the greatest threat to our freedom, the greatest threat to the American way of life is the Democrat Party. Democrat, socialist, communist. That's how they flow down that road. They don't do us any good at all, ever.
Yeah, and it's not an 8-year thing. My dad taught me something a long time ago, which I'm glad he said it, because I don't know when I would have ever came up with it on my own, or if I ever would have. But when communists get into office, the whole thing is to implement communism, and it comes in the form of socialist programs. And each socialist program represents a puzzle piece, and
Right.
once the puzzle is put together, it's done. But here's the key. Here's what my dad said: every time a Democrat gets into office, they put in some sort of puzzle piece of communism into place.
Right.
That is permanent forever.
Right.
They never, ever, ever become undone. Then they get done with their 8 years, or sometimes even 4 years, and then they die. And then 50 years later, that same stupid communist policy that they put in place is still with us. It lives many, many centuries or decades at least beyond their grave.
This will blow your mind. In Germany, right now, and if you listen to talk radio, you'd heard it a couple of years ago. Rush Limbaugh talked about it. Glenn Beck talked about it. Sean Hannity talked about it. But there was a family from Germany requesting asylum in America because of their crimes that they were accused of in Germany. There's a law on the books in Germany from Hitler's era that says that you are not allowed to homeschool your children. It is illegal to homeschool your children in Germany. Your children will be taken from you, sent wards of the state, and you will be imprisoned if you don't follow this law. So they fled to America and had representation, had a lot of Christians funding them, money, helping them out. There were lawyers that were taking this up pro bono. They were requesting Obama to immediately step in and grant them asylum in America. They hardworking, I think they even had their own business, had their own home. I mean, a really very productive individuals, and they homeschooled their children. This law is on the book in Germany for over 50 years, 60, 70 years ago. You know what Obama did?
What's that?
They didn't get granted asylum.
He didn't let him in?
No.
These are people trying to homeschool their kids.
Right.
Because Hitler put in a law.
Yeah,
and why would he have put a law like that in?
Because when you homeschool your children, you actually teach your children the things that they should know instead of the government teaching your children what they shouldn't know. Common Core, indoctrination. There's all kinds of schools, all kinds of reports all over the internet right now where schools are indoctrinating our children, our Christian children, into the Islamic faith. And that we need to treat Islamic, the culture of religious culture of Islam, with some kind of reverence and court them and bring them into the fold. I'm here. I'm going to be the first one here on Smith Radio, and I'm going to take a really, really big stance on this. And mark my words, I will not back down from this. Islam is a religion of evil.
So that was a big
evil.
Was that this week that Ben Carson? Was that last week that Ben Carson?
That was this week.
We didn't talk about it last week's show.
No, that was
Really?
Breaking. Here's the meme of Ben Carson. He's got a Superman outfit on, and instead of the big giant S for Superman, it says PC
with
crossed out.
Yeah, it has an X across PC,
and it says Man of Steel.
Okay.
So Brian Williams. Oh, he's back from his hiatus.
Oh, the liar!
And guess the meme on him. Look. Remember when I was Pope?
Oh, so
because he was covering the Pope. He was covering. Brian Williams was back in reinstated,
but it said he was Pope.
Or he was before. Well, he reported that he was back in the.
The joke is
taking-
that he
he's
says
taking fire.
things that aren't true.
Well, he said he was taking under fire.
He was in a helicopter, and they were just
being shot down.
Yeah. It turns out it was some other helicopter.
It wasn't even him.
It wasn't. He was not in the helicopter at all.
He was making up stories. So anyways, so Ben Carson comes out and says that we cannot, and I agree with him 100%, and we'll go through this real quick. We cannot have a president that is Islamic in their faith. Although I did play that clip from Donald Trump that Donald Trump said, and some folks believe that we already have a Muslim president, which is true. We do. Obama is a Muslim worshiping Islam president. There's no question about that. He is. But he lied about it and kept it under wraps, if you will, and the media covered for him to become president. However, we cannot have an openly Islamic religious president in the United States of America.
Okay, so you want to hear what Mark Levin said why we can't do that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So the thing about the Constitution, and this is where all the liberals and pro-terrorists will jump on, they say that the Constitution specifically says that there is no religious litmus test for running for office in America. So if they say that they're Muslim, that does not automatically disqualify them, whereas Ben Carson says that they should be automatically disqualified for being a Muslim because, and he explains himself. He says that the religion, with regards to Sharia law, runs contrary to the Constitution, and he believes that if you don't have the attitude of the Constitution coming first, and you have an attitude of believing in a religion that runs contrary to things that are in the Bill of Rights and other parts of the Constitution, that you should automatically be
when we've talked about this
disregarded.
Yeah, we've talked about this before a lot in the past, and I think we'll continue to talk about it a lot. But the problem with Islam, the number one problem with Islam, is that there is no real freedom.
Okay, so you want to hear Mark Levin?
There's no freedom.
Mark Levin just ended the whole discussion right here. He said that, sure, you're right. There is nothing in the Constitution that, or actually, it does say that there is no litmus test, and that it cannot prevent you from becoming president. However, there's another part of the Constitution which would prevent them from becoming president.
Placing their hand on the Bible, saying
the oath of office.
Yep.
Because you cannot follow the Quran, specifically Sharia law, and honestly put your hand on the Quran and swear to uphold and defend the Constitution. You can't do it.
Well, you can put your hand on the Quran,
but if you believe in
lie,
Islam,
because in Islam it says by hook or by crook, you can lie about it.
Is that the actual text?
Yeah, quote from Muhammad. He sent down his prophet, and he said, "By hook or by crook, we will get them all to bow down to Sharia law."
Okay.
So that
is interesting.
If you're lying, you are lying.
You're allowed to lie.
Lie, especially if you're trying to promote the cause, push the cause forward.
If it's right, could you imagine being in a some sort of a deal? Could be a contract that you're signing. Could be a handshake,
like a negotiation between our country and Iran.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. That explains a lot. That explains
yes,
a lot.
It does.
Woo! That is very, very, very enlightening. So as long as the end result helps further the propagation of Sharia law or the Quran or Islam or whatever, you can break all kinds of laws.
Right.
I mean, you're allowed to. What was it that you could put bombs in your?
Yes, there was one. There was one imam who. This was on video,
and we've talked about this on a previous show several months ago.
And it went viral on YouTube. This imam was doing a video with live chat, live call in, and that was reposted on YouTube. And one of his followers asked him, "You're telling me to insert these sticks of dynamite into my back end, and then I can go blow myself up? But isn't that against, sodomy is against the religion of Islam? And the imam said, well, because you are furthering the cause for our religion and spreading our religion and killing the infidels, it is perfectly acceptable to use this new technique that we're providing to you.
Which would be normally against the Quran.
Right. But he said
to sodomize yourself.
Right. But he said that there's this tool that we'll send you that'll prepare you to take on lots of dynamite.
Jeez.
I'm not kidding.
You've got to be kidding.
No. It is. He said it's absolutely true. And this is what...
It's necessary.
It's necessary. And at the very end of it, he says, I don't know. And the imam says, well, go ahead and pray for forgiveness for Muhammad.
Just in case.
Just to double down on it.
So Carson, breaking news.
Okay.
Doubled down on
Yes, he did.
Did you hear about this?
Oh, no, I did. Go ahead if you got... Turn up.
I would not advocate that we put a Muslim in charge of this nation. I absolutely would
Let me turn it up a little bit here. I think that's the right one.
not agree with that.
I would advocate that people go back and look at the transcript.
Should a president's faith matter?
Oh, hold on a second.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought isn't this the volume for it?
That's possible. So, as he
matter to voters?
Well, I guess.
I don't know why it's so quiet. All right, go ahead.
All right. Well, the whole thing is that religion. America was founded by Christians in the Christian faith. This is the reason why the Pilgrims originally came to this country, was to get away from having to worship the kings and queens, having to bow down and worship people that were not of their faith. Christians,
I got it now.
Unfortunately, in hindsight, are too giving in the sense that they'll allow anybody to come over here and practice their religion. We should be more like Japan, where Japan, I don't know if you all know this or not, did you know that it is illegal for Muslims to live in Japan? And if there's an Islamic led company in Japan doing work, they're outside contractors. No managers, no supervisors, no head honchos can be of Islamic faith in Japan.
I would not advocate or support that in America because
I do. I do. 100%.
Well, I think the First Amendment does actually protect Muslims. But the oath of office, I mean, if your religion is at odds with the Constitution, you can't become president because you can't put your hand on the Bible and swear to it. And I would go even further to say, how could we allow a religion who is, or I should say, a person of a certain faith that we know is taught to lie to further their cause, to become president and put their hand on the Bible or on the Quran, knowing full well that they're allowed to lie.
Right.
Yeah, so let's hear what Ben Carson has to say about it.
You said last week, quote, I would not advocate that we put a Muslim in charge of this nation. I absolutely would not agree with that.
I would advocate that people go back and look at the transcript.
Should a president's faith matter? Should your faith matter to voters?
This is the last week part.
Well, I guess it depends on what that faith is. If it's inconsistent with the values and principles of America, then of course it should matter. But if it fits within the realm of America and consistent with the Constitution, no problem.
So do you believe that Islam is consistent with the Constitution?
No, I don't. I do not.
Amen.
I would not advocate that we put a Muslim in charge of this nation. I absolutely would not agree with that.
He'd ask you about Islam, if you thought Islam was conducive to the Constitution, and you said Muslims, that you would have a problem with a Muslim being president.
I would have problems with somebody who embraced all the doctrines associated with Islam. If they're not willing to reject, Sharia,
exactly,
and all the portions of it that are talked about in the Quran. If they're not willing to reject that and subject that to American values and the Constitution, then of course I wouldn't. And I would ask you, would you be willing to do that? Would you be willing to advocate for somebody who would not do that? Probably not.
I don't assume that because somebody's Muslim that they would put their religion ahead of the U.S. Constitution.
That's
and
why
in
you're
fact,
a
the
reporter
US
and you're
Constitution
stupid.
itself says no religious test.
Yeah, except that I had already said before that anybody from any religion, from any background, if they are, I told you what the criteria were for that. I told Chuck Todd what the criteria were. So
Chuck
he's
Todd.
asking this out of that context.
You don't think that in any way you said anything that could have been said more clearly about Muslims?
Very clear.
Because you seem to be singling out Muslims as individuals who automatically, as a knee-jerk, would put their religion ahead of the country.
Because
and
they
I think
would!
That offended a lot of people, including a lot of
Why wouldn't
patriotic
they?
Muslims.
I think the statement stands. Is it possible that maybe the media thinks that it's a bigger deal than the American people do?
Wow!
Because the
He
American
just called
people,
him out!
the majority of them agree with, and they understand exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, why is he
I think
acting like
I've
he
seen
doesn't
from,
understand?
I've heard from a lot of people
I'm
who
down with Ben.
don't think that Muslims can be patriotic who agree with you. And I don't know that if I were running for president, I would want the support of people like that.
Of course Muslims can be I've worked with Muslims, I've trained Muslims, I've operated on Muslims. I have a lot of Muslims who are very patriotic, good Americans, and they gladly admit, at least privately, that they don't accept Sharia or the doctrines, and they understand that Islam is a system of living, and it includes the way that you relate to the government. And you cannot,
Right, because your government
unless
is
you
the religion.
specifically
As a Muslim.
deny that portion of Islam, be a Muslim in good standing. Now, if that is the case, if you're not willing to reject that, then how in the world can you possibly be the president of the United States?
And take
So
the
you
oath
are
of office.
saying that there is something specific about being a Muslim that you have to reject Islam in order to be a president. That's
Well,
what-
you have to reject the tenets of Islam.
Sharia
yes,
law.
you have to.
Yeah, duh.
and that's different from an Orthodox Jew or a devout Christian.
If there's a devout Christian who's running and they refuse to reject the ideals of our Constitution, or if they want to establish a theocracy, I cannot advocate for them.
I guess the point
Like an
is, you seem
evangelist.
to be suggesting that Muslim Americans automatically.
So yeah, I mean,
They,
that's the first time I heard that.
But they can go back and forth all day long because that's what the media does. They just try and try.
Yep.
Trip you up.
Right.
We're going to make him look like a fool sooner or later.
Yeah,
And they couldn't.
How long did I go?
They couldn't.
It's like a 4-minute.
I know, you went for a
Well, no, I mean,
But that was
a
good. It was
fascinating
insightful.
exchange. It was that was the first time I heard it. So
Especially coming from Ben Carson, and I still say this now. Trump for president, Carson VP.
I would definitely.
Dude,
support that.
they could balance each other.
I would wonder. I think that Cruz is kind of. I know what Cruz is doing. Cruz is doing a very, very smart tactical maneuver here. He's drafting.
He's drafting.
He's drafting in the wake of Donald Trump,
Waiting for a crash.
and he's totally supporting him.
Oh, yeah.
Because here, think about it.
He was in a interview in a town hall meeting, and the media tried to catch him up.
Okay.
So he would say something bad about Trump,
Oh, he's not going to.
and he said, "I like him.
I can't
He's
crash.
my friend.
I can't crash the car that's getting me to the lead
Right.
here.
He said, I like the guy. The guy's a good guy. He speaks his mind. I like him."
Yeah, right. Well, they're all kind of saying that. They're all saying, "Well, we like a candidate that speaks his mind." Even Jeb Bush is saying that.
His
Jindal.
numbers are tank.
Bobby Jindal is like, hey, look, we need somebody like Trump, but let me tell you something. He's a clown, and he's just going on and on and on.
And Jindal doesn't even have numbers anymore.
I'm only reminded that he's running because when Glenn Beck comes on, it becomes a bash Trump fest and a please somebody pay attention to Bobby Jindal.
Oh my
please.
God. And I like Bobby Jindal and a lot of the things that he's done.
Fine.
But yeah.
He's making a wrong tactical mistake trying to bash Trump early on. It's just too early to be. He sounds so disingenuous when he starts calling him names and doing the ad hominem attacks on Trump. It's like, what are you doing? Is this how you're going to get attention from the public or whatever?
Right.
So
Graham comes out and he tells the American Muslims, ignore Carson. This is your country too.
Well, I don't have a problem.
Lindsey Graham.
So you and I have there's two things that you and I are disagreeing on a little bit. Minor disagreement. One is that with our First Amendment, freedom of religion, you can be an American citizen, a patriotic American, or even a legal immigrant that wants to stay and loves the Constitution and whatever, or even maybe you want to change it to become Sharia law. I don't have a problem with you being here. I don't have a problem with that, as long as you don't actively go down that road of, well, we need to kill these people because they're not converted.
Okay, they're in Michigan, Dearborn, Michigan, where Muslims are taking over the entire city. Mm-hmm. There was a blow up this week in one of the local schools.
Okay,
and the Muslim mothers were having a really big spout, and they went YouTube. It went viral. Somebody's with a camera phone, and the woman was being escorted out by police because it was getting to be a melee. It was getting out of control, and she yelled back at the school board. She said, "You wait. We'll take over this city very soon. We'll become." Oh, that's what she said. We will be the majority, and we will take over this city.
Wow. Yeah, that's a little bit of a problem.
It's a Muslim mother. See, here's the problem I've got with Muslims. They want to come here and convert this Christian nation into a Muslim nation.
Yeah, but aren't you playing into the hands of the freedom or separation of church and state by calling it a Christian nation?
Well, then, no, absolutely not.
Because why?
It was founded on Judeo principles, Christian principles.
Yeah, I mean, the laws in the Constitution and the laws throughout the communities and all that obviously come from the values of Christianity. That's
right.
Fine.
Morals and values and freedoms that come from the Bible, the Christian ideologies, the things that we teach our children to become good, upstanding citizens, to not lie, the 10 Commandments, don't kill nobody. Respect your mom and dad. Don't lie. Don't be a liar.
Is that one of the commandments?
Yeah, it says don't be a liar.
What is that? I don't even know what you're talking about. You lost me.
South Central.
Oh,
South Central.
Oh, in South Central, that's what they say?
Don't be a liar.
Okay.
You're a liar. Anyway, but the Muslims are completely opposite of that, and they want to come into our country where we've got set up. We allow atheists to do what they want to do. We allow Mormons to do what they want to do. We don't care. The government is not instituting a religion. The government was founded on Christian religious ideologies, but the government is not saying you have to be a Christian. You don't have to be any religion. However, what you cannot do is come to this country and take it over and institute your religion.
Right. Okay, I agree with that 100%. Yeah, I mean, when you said you're trying to turn a Christian nation into a Muslim nation, really it's just a nation of freedom and freedom of religion, and they're trying to take that away by turning it into a Muslim nation, or at least a Muslim city.
No, I believe America was founded. America is a Christian nation, founded by Christians.
Right, but they don't. It's not like we need to refer to the Bible to reference laws. We have all that written.
Right.
It's separate from the Bible. They were inspired by a lot of Christian people in the past, but it's not like
the founders were.
It's not like we have to go to court and say, "All right, was what you did legal or not? Let's crack open the Bible and find out."
Right. No. But a Muslim would crack open the Quran and find out and say, "Okay, my wife now needs to be murdered."
Well, or at least your hands need to be cut off for doing whatever.
Correct.
Your tongue needs to be cut out for lying.
For being a liar.
A liar. I don't know how you say that. I don't.
So, but before I forget this, the Pope told atheists that you don't need to believe in God to go to heaven.
Who said what?
Yeah. Yeah, that was independent.
Was that a
independent.co.uk out of the UK? These Muslims.
What is he?
The Pope, this whole thing with the Pope being the whole week and the media blowing it up. Well, Obama used that as cover. Breaking news.
Breaking news. Listen up, people.
You won't hear it anywhere else.
I want to hear it.
How many hijackers, Kerry, were there on 9/11?
19 hijackers.
Did you know there was a 20th hijacker?
I remember, but I don't know whatever came of him.
Bin Laden, Osama bin Laden, Osama bin Laden.
Yeah.
His bodyguard, well, I don't even know. I'm not even going to attempt his name. It's probably Muhammad.
We don't need to.
Muhammad.
Right.
Muhammad. His bodyguard was the 20th hijacker. And guess where he was being housed?
At Osama bin Laden's?
Guantanamo Bay.
Oh, you mean he was captured?
Yeah, he was captured and
Okay.
sitting to rot forever in Guantanamo Bay. Obama just released him
When? Like a couple years ago?
to Saudi Arabia. No, this news just came out this week that they used this for cover. And he's being sent back to Saudi Arabia to continue terrorist acts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You mean they didn't just transfer him to a prison in Saudi Arabia?
No. No, they have this catch and release program.
What? It's like when you're fishing and it's not the right size, you got to throw it
It's
back.
not big enough, right? There's this program where they send them back to their country of choice. They send them back to a country, and that country that accepts them says, okay, we'll put them in a re-education camp, and we'll follow them and maintain them to get them to be back associated with good society people. Problem is, in Saudi Arabia, they believe in Islam and the Quran wholeheartedly. And this guy, this bad, the 20th hijacker, he's Michael Jordan to them.
Ah,
He's a celebrity.
really?
He's a celebrity. He did a stint. in prison. Now he's coming out. He's coming out.
He's in prison for being the 20th hijacker.
Right.
Oh, dude, Obama. What motive? Other than I don't get it.
He's got. I'll tell you what. When they said, and I think Rush said this. We got 2 years left of this guy. Dude, he does not care anymore at all. There's not an ounce of inkling of anything. Not a single hair.
And you can't
on
reverse
his
these
head.
things. When you release the 20th hijacker
Right.
back to the holiest of holy lands, the country which has Mecca in it,
Right.
where he is a slave, you're not going to reverse that and say, well, we're going to rescind that release.
You know what they do?
Him.
You know what they do? Last month they did this. It was one of the things in my stack of stuff, and I just remembered it. About a month or so ago, one of the terrorists that they released from Gitmo, they put out a $50,000 reward for him.
What?
In the Middle East. Yeah. Somebody could give us clues as to his arrest.
But they
$50,000 bounty on. We need him back. He didn't finish the re-education program.
What is so monument? So what's the motive? Like, why is he doing this? Is it because he's like, well, listen, I promised I'd shut down Guantanamo in 2008 when I was running. I wasn't even elected yet.
Right.
I got elected on these things. Pulling out of Iraq, pulling out of everywhere else, and also closing Guantanamo Bay. And he ran on this stuff.
And now all of a sudden, he's just, you know what? I got nothing else to do. I'm going to go back and make sure I uphold what I said.
Go ahead and tie up all the loose
Ends.
ends.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
So
ends.
he has to release all these people.
Correct.
In order to close Guantanamo Bay.
Correct.
So he can give that chunk of land back to Cuba.
Oh, yeah, because, that's Cuban land. It's nobody else. We shouldn't be
Remember
there.
when Jimmy Carter gave away the Panama Canal? Oh.
Yeah. Well, it was a 99-year lease.
Okay.
And the lease was coming due.
Don't tell me he foreclosed.
Well, they said in honor for the 99th year of this, in honor of the lease being up, we're not going to renegotiate the lease. We're just going to give you back the land.
We're going to give it to you.
Give it to you. So there's a Miami priest who called out the Pope this week and says, why condemn capitalism but not communism? His name's Doug Giles. #ClashDaily. So, no, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about communism, and we're talking about the taking over of America, yet the leaders who should be promoting the beauty of capitalism is a gift that was given to us from God. Absolutely. Look it up.
Okay.
Once you start to get involved in it, you start to see what it's all about. It's the opposite of Islam. Christianity and Islam are polar opposites. One's white, one's black. Or no, one's transparent and one's solid. I don't know. Anyways.
One's solid and one's liquid.
Right, they're polar opposites. Islam says that merchants are the dung heap of society. The people who believe in capitalism are the worst of the worst of the worst, and it's all about terror and conquer. In Christianity, capitalism, the beauty of bringing goodness to people, hope and change, if you will, from communism, that capitalism has raised more people out of poverty than anything else in all of human existence. Let me say that again. Capitalism has raised more people out of poverty than anything else in all of human existence. America invented the word millionaire. During the turn of the century, we invented the word millionaire. And what do millionaires do? They take their money and they spend it on stuff. Big, giant, beautiful houses that we can work to build. Big, giant, beautiful trucks and cars and stuff. And their money goes a long way. They want to make more money, so they make their business bigger. The bigger their business grows, the more people they hire. Get the government out of the capitalism. Because the government found out very quickly, the communist part of the government found out very quickly, that by feeding the money to the masses, which is what Caesar did in Rome, give them money to the masses, they'll come crawling to you and grovel and then worship you. Okay, well, the communist government also found out that corporations will do the same thing if you give them enough money. Walmart. Why would Walmart, a Christian-led company, be in favor of all these anti-Christian ideologies?
They were all for Obamacare.
Yes!
They push for that.
Why would they do that? And why would they say, okay, raise minimum wage to $500 a minute? Whatever you want. Make it whatever you want. Why? Because whoever's running Walmart right now is not very Christian. Whoever's running Walmart right now sees the dollars and cent signs. They know that small mom and pop, they know that medium mom and pop can't afford minimum wage hikes, can't afford Obamacare. They can. So then they're using the government to eliminate their competition. This is what communism does. Eliminate competition. Eliminate the whole capitalist society. Just remove it all. You see the polar opposites. Communism, Muslims, completely opposite. Capitalism and Christianity. Sorry about my tirade right there.
I 100% agree.
I just felt that that's been a long time coming. I had to come out.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that you got to realize. The crony capitalism, which is...
We've renamed that, because there is no such thing as crony capitalism.
The Walmart example is... Well, there is such thing. It's just... It's
crony socialism. That's what it turns into.
Right. It kind of is the same thing.
Right.
If you look at it from... Okay, so when you have an unholy alliance between government and big businesses...
Walmart, GE.
Yeah. If you look at it from the private sector...
Chevy, Chrysler.
Yeah, if you look at it from the private sector point of view, it looks like what you would call crony capitalism. Right. But if you look at the exact same relationship, except from the government side of it, you would call it crony socialism. Right. It's like a mutually beneficial, unholy agreement, an agreement... It's collusion between government and big business against customers/citizens. Because to the government, all of us peons are just citizens.
Right.
And to big business, all of us peons are just customers. But we're the same thing. We're citizens and customers. So when you have big business and big government getting together and pretty much colluding against the people...
Right.
that is crony capitalism and crony socialism, no matter, depending on which side you're looking at.
Right.
If you're looking at the government side, it's crony socialism.
And when big business, like take GE, for example, when big, giant business that builds, multi-million-dollar gas turbine engines for whether they're aircraft or whether they generate electricity, whatever they do, their customer, it could very well be other countries. Okay? So if another country wants to buy these gas turbine electric generators to run an entire city for electricity using fuel, then they'll go to GE, set it up, and then they'll ship it to their country. Maybe their country needs 3 or 4 of them. When you've got that kind of thing, it's easy for our government to then get involved with GE and then let GE know that they're willing to help them out and they'll do backdoor things and this and that. One of the things that I found out is that the government, GE lobbied the government of America to ease back on some of the rules and regulations of their banking for international customers so they can make more money.
So that GE can make more money from international customers?
Correct.
And where's the bad in that?
Well, the bad is that they're using a rule or a law, whatever. I don't even know if the law is good or bad. But
or a regulation.
Right, regulation. They're getting the government to ease back on that one for them.
So it's like they created a loophole just for them.
For them.
Yeah, it's not fair to other companies unless you say, hey, you did it for GE, can you do it for me too? And all of a sudden the government ends up picking and choosing. What about the little guy? What if there's some little guy in a garage making jet engines?
Right. Hey, by the way, exactly. So, and that's the problem when you've got big companies doing international business like that. Okay. Whatever happened to Chevy and Chrysler? Did Detroit ever get that bounce back that Obama said he's not going to let Detroit fail?
I don't know.
Right. Detroit is still a hole.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No,
it's not coming
Obama
back.
said that, but he said that he needed the bailout because they needed to bail out and save them. Bring Detroit back.
Why? Detroit became what it did because of Henry Ford and all. It wasn't even Henry Ford. It was this movement. Kind of like today we have social media's blowing up. You got Facebook that's still in its infancy. 50 years from now, we'll be talking about the teens as that information age where, people became connected to an electronic device that they could use for communicating with the whole world.
Right. Like we are, by the way, our latest stats for Smith Radio, we've got a huge following in Virginia. Thanks for listening,
Really?
Virginia.
Virginia?
Yep. You got a huge following in Texas. And
Which I'm not surprised by. Yeah.
I am surprised about this one.
What's that?
San Francisco.
No way.
Yes.
How's that even possible?
Yes, on the list, I think the top 10, San Francisco's in there around 5.
Conservatives are outlawed.
San Francisco's the 5th on the list.
Oh, they're all underground.
Oh,
That's what it is.
So we're able to reach the entire world. We're number 1 in America. We're huge in America, and second on the list is UK. And Canada.
So this is what's blowing up now.
Right.
Well, back around this time 100 years ago, the thing that was blowing up was
horse and buggy.
Well, the Industrial Revolution created the internal combustion engine, which then eliminated the horse and then gave people more freedom. And then what happened was there was this explosion of all these tinkerers who were like, oh, I could build a car. Well, I could build a car. Did you know that the Dodge brothers worked for Henry Ford?
They took a oh no, this was the founder of Chrysler. The founder of Chrysler.
Oh, Chrysler.
He bought,
which is something different.
Right.
A lot of people don't realize that there were
independent
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of car manufacturers. They all were working out of their
garages,
their double wide garage.
Yeah, absolutely. Literally. Well, Chrysler bought a car. He was so fascinated with the car. He bought a car, took it home, took the entire thing apart, put it back together, took it apart, and put it back together. Like he was obsessed with taking it apart and putting it back together to figure out how it worked.
Okay, so we had to learn it.
Chrysler back in the day was a great car. It's not what it is. When Lee Iacocca took it over, dump.
Would you hear what happened with the Dodge brothers?
Yeah.
They worked for Ford, and they kept on saying, dude, 2 things. Number 1, we need to have more, we need to offer customers a variety of colors.
Well, yeah, Henry said to everybody, you can have whatever color you want as long as it's black.
Oh, that's awesome.
So he said, you want whatever color you want. You want a color? That's fine. As long as it's black, you can have it.
Right. And the Dodge brothers were like, come on, dude. This
we need
cannot
blue,
be
we need
that
yellow, we need
complicated.
white. Yeah.
And then they also wanted new features and styles that kind of kept it all fresh, kind of altered it. And, of course, Henry Ford was an idealist when it comes to the mass production, the assembly line.
Right. He wasn't into pretty-looking, fancy. That was for rich people who made something called a Duesenberg. A Duesenberg.
Okay.
The high-end Lamborghini Ferraris of Ferraris, the high-end of the high-end.
They made the frame out of solid gold.
Right. Nobody could really afford a Duesenberg.
And if you saw one,
right,
it would be equivalent to seeing like what's your favorite?
So if you've ever heard, if you ever heard that term, oh man, there's a doozy. That came from the Duesenberg,
right? Because doozy was short. That's what everybody called a Duesenberg. It's a doozy.
So Henry said, "Well, you can go ahead and sell that. That's fine to maybe 10 or 20 people a month, whatever." I know it's like
$500. Henry Ford told the Dodge brothers, "Hell no!"
Right? I'll make these one way, one style, very simple, very easy. Boom! I don't care what it looks like. It doesn't have to be pretty.
Yeah,
it can be functional.
So the Dodge brothers said, "We're getting out of Dodge."
Kansas City, that is.
Yeah. So they out of Detroit. They open up right next to it. So then the Dodge came out, and you can get it in red and yellow, and so that's how Dodge came to be.
We are talking about and actually getting excited. Dude, I'm getting excited talking about this. You know why?
Why is that?
It's capitalism.
Yeah.
At its best, the pure embrace of capitalism to where ideas that aren't melting together. And I'll break away and I'll come up with my own idea and I'll do my own thing.
Well, did you hear what the Dodge brothers came up with? Here's capitalism for you. They came up with a full 100% rust bucket.
So it was a bucket with rust painted on.
Well, no, it was made out of rusty metal.
Okay.
And then they would paint over the top of it.
Oh, you own one of those, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Yikes.
I do own a...
See, later on, after Chrysler picked up Dodge, and if you buy a Jeep prior to 1980, you have a real solid, one of the greatest Jeeps, one of the greatest four-wheel off-road cars ever made.
The cutoff? 80?
Jeep. Yeah, somewhere around there.
Like 80
before 80.
Okay.
It's when Chrysler pulled him up, pulled him over.
Guys, you got to pull over.
He bought him out. Chrysler bought him out, and then went to this just chintzy. No, we're not going to be this hardcore off-road. We're going to look like it, but we can really cut back on the cost by making it out of plastic. You don't need metal to go off-road. And who's going off-road anyways? Come on.
That's true. It became an SUV at that point.
Right. So, but that's what this whole thing is all about. Now, shift gears. Let's go to Sharia law.
Grind them gears.
Yeah, that's how you sharpen them.
Oh, you got to
sharpen the gears. You grind them. No, I mean, take the pictures. I'm talking about complete polar opposites. Sharia law, Islam, capitalism. Huh?
It's kind of a close relative to communism when you consider that the only things that are allowed are things that are dictated by the state, the central planning, the central government, federal. Like that's, and they want to build that big because they have to micromanage everything. And who was it that told me that in a communist society, anything that is not prohibited is mandatory.
Oh,
that is so true.
Oh,
that is an absolute fact when it comes to. It's kind of like all of them, everything except for free market capitalism under a Judeo-Christian Bill of Rights constitutional government.
And the founders, something that I've come to learn, understand, and believe. I was in that camp that will bring freedom to the world and will allow everybody to have the beauty that we have. I was under that impression when I was young. I am fully aware of my mistake. And that
we've all made mistakes.
Right. And I am fully aware of this mistake. especially when I read what the founders said. The founders of this country said that this will only work if we have a just and moral society.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Islam is not just and it's not moral.
There you go. I mean, I can't. How can you argue that with what's going on over in the Middle East?
Okay, so now we brought that up. And this, if you got children in the room, my love, just real quick.
Okay.
However, this is not breaking, but it is pretty hardcore. In the Middle East, where our troops are serving, assisting Muslim countries to fight back ISIS and to fight back some of the other terrors of the world, there is we have American troops stationed, like in tent cities or whatever, stationed right next to Muslim Islamic troops.
Okay.
And some of the higher ups, what they will do is they will order out boys.
Boys? What do you mean order out boys?
Order it up, and they have a word for it. They'll get these young 9-year-old boys, and they dress them up like girls. And then they have their way with them.
That is so weird.
And they have a saying, it's like a joke saying that women are for children, women are for babies, and boys are for toys. It's loosely translated from Islam to English. That's the whole thing. And if you go to our Instagram, there is a...
I saw that photo.
And it was hard for me to do it. It breaks my heart even looking at it again.
A child that looks like he's somewhere in the vicinity of like 8 or 9 years old, maybe. Right.
This boy is a Bachi Bazi.
What is that?
What
is that?
Pushtun Muslims dress these boys as girls and then sodomize them. A popular Afghan saying is, women are for children and boys are for pleasure. Some cultures treat...
When women are for children, you mean procreation. They're women are for procreation.
Right. Some cultures treat children as sex toys. Yeah. And this one does. This culture of Muslim, these are Islamic. These are Muslims that are treating these boys in such a horrible fashion. So,
but just for those of you who think, they hear this story, think that, okay, well, that kind of stuff happens in America too. What you're not hearing from us right now, and I'm going to explain it to you as clear as I can. This is not just some isolated incident because, yes, you're right. There are really weird creeps in America too who kidnap children and do all kinds of crazy... There's sex offenders all over the place. The problem we're having is that this is such a cultural thing, like a culturally accepted thing and widespread thing over there, that it's happening on base.
Yeah, because our base... Well,
it's happening on an American base.
Yes.
Not with our troops, but with the Muslim troops... or the
shipping in little children, boys.
Yeah, not our troops, but we have like, let's say we're in Afghanistan. We have Afghani troops that are operating on our bases.
Correct.
And they'll have their tents or whatever. And you're saying that they're bringing boys to the base and sodomizing them.
Yes.
And how did we find this out?
Well, there was a Green Beret, and that's Army. He was kicked out of the military because he couldn't take the screams of the boys anymore. Went over there and beat the living crap out of this dude.
How could you not? How could you
apparently, he beat this guy so bad, and a decorated Green Beret, this is straight from ArmyTimes.com. A decorated Green Beret says he's being kicked out of the Army for losing his cool in 2011 and striking an Afghan local police officer
2011.
One who was
just now getting
allegedly one who's allegedly confessed to raping boys, and then yeah, it's this is going. They hear the screams. One guy wrote back to his father.
But why did he get kicked out though?
Because he struck the guy that was raping him.
But why?
He's being because.
Well, what was he supposed to do?
Oh, they're being told not to do anything. They're being told you are not allowed to strike these military police officers of the Afghan organization. You are not allowed to have any contact with them.
Because it's
another country.
Thing.
That's their thing. We can't tell them what to do with their boys.
Hey, that's what they do.
That's their boys.
That's their culture. We got to let them have their culture.
Right.
That is just... We cannot nation build when this is the culture. When you have a culture of people where this is what they do,
and they've been
you got to just destroy it.
They've been elected and put on the Human Rights Board of the United Nations.
Oh, of course they did, because that's exactly how it goes. The irony is always the thickest in the United Nations.
Yes, absolutely. It so pains me that this is what's going on. In the UK, Muslims are finding doctors that will do what they call a little cut, a little snip. Yeah. Muslims take their daughters and find a doctor in the UK, because Muslims are taking over Britain.
Yeah, they've done
they're infiltrating all of Europe, and they're taking over Britain. It's really, really bad. So they need to find a doctor to give their child a circumcision.
Okay.
So what's the problem? Why is it so hard to find a doctor to do circumcision? You wouldn't think it would be, right?
I wouldn't think it would be.
To a girl.
I don't know much about what you're supposed to do with a girl and a guy.
Well, you're not supposed to cut anything on a girl.
Oh, not supposed to. Okay, so
ever.
So they
Nothing.
do that. They do that though?
Yes, they snip the very sensitive part of the woman that's where she gets her pleasure with her husband. That part is removed, so she never feels that pleasure.
Huh.
And this is in the Muslim culture, and they've gone underground in Europe and in the UK because it's illegal. It's illegal everywhere. Well, got breaking news coming out in America now.
Really?
Finding doctors that are willing to do what they call a small cut, a little slit, a little cut, little snip, little snip.
Well, this is what we got coming then.
I mean, you're taking the freedom and the thing that God gave to that woman to share with her husband. You're taking that away from her. I mean, it's worse than raping a young child that hasn't even. Worse than raping a young child. You've literally scarred this woman for the rest of her life. You're like, well, why isn't her mom standing up for this? Oh no, the mothers are taking their daughters.
That's the thing. The mother is
because it happened to her.
Culture is that this is what you do.
Right. This happened to me too. Oh, it's just a little snip. Don't worry. Look, we all do it.
Like it would distress her to not be allowed to do this.
Right. How dare my daughter have something that I don't have? Well, yeah, but you Christians, you circumcise all your boys. A little bit different.
Is it?
A little bit 100% different, because I don't want to get into the whole history behind all that.
It's a big debate now.
But there's maybe not in today's culture, but in the cultures past, a lot of it had to do with cleanliness.
Okay.
Easier cleanliness, and it doesn't take away anything from a man.
Except for a little excess.
It's like clipping your toenails. It's just too much toenail there.
Okay. Yeah, you don't want that much. I could see that.
So other than, you're not taking away anything from a man in the pleasure region, if you will, or that he will be able to enjoy that kind of relationship with his wife. There's nothing negative, no drawback to it whatsoever.
Okay.
So don't
hypocrite.
Right. Hey, did you hear about, speaking of Chicago, we weren't talking about Chicago, we were talking about Detroit.
Oh, well.
Chicago, Detroit.
It's all the same region.
Right. It's just more people die in Chicago than Detroit.
Yeah, because they're already all dead and gone.
In Detroit. Right?
That's why there's nobody there.
No, not at all.
Everyone thinks they're moving out. They're like, no.
So did you? So this story in Detroit has to do with Hillary Clinton and her emails.
Oh, okay. Back to that story. We haven't touched on it this week.
Well, got some breaking news this week.
All right, breaking news on Hillary.
Did you hear about Rahm Emanuel?
No. I mean, I know that he sent a dead fish to somebody.
He's getting sued.
Okay.
For using a private email account to escape open records laws.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Rahm Emanuel is Obama's personal buddy.
Oh, absolutely.
Good friends. Oh,
absolutely.
They come from the same school of thought, take down America, and prop it up with their regime. And this is part and parcel from the same people that Hillary was raised up from as well. I mean, this is the school of thought that was pushed to them in their younger days, and this is what they believe wholeheartedly. So, yeah, Rahm Emanuel, the Chicago Tribune has filed a lawsuit to reopen, this came from Breitbart.com, to open the lawsuit, an investigation to his private email to escape open records law. Well, apparently, Rahm Emanuel has been emailing all kinds of bad people. I mean, he's a bad person himself. He's an awful person. He believes in big government, no freedom.
He's the one that
remove all guns from legal citizens.
Yeah, he's the one that let the cat out of the bag by saying never. He I quote, never let a crisis go to waste. Which means
who taught him that?
Well, yeah, that's the whole Alinsky thing.
Saul Alinsky.
Yeah, that's the whole Saul Alinsky thing. But what it means specifically is anytime a crisis happens, that's when you got to mobilize to use it as a distraction or use it as a tool to get policies implemented that you could never otherwise get implemented. Like, for instance, he would praise Bush for implementing the Patriot Act right after 9/11, which because it would have never been able to be implemented without it. And so that's just one example.
Another example is the Pope coming to America, providing cover.
That would be not a crisis, but definitely along the same lines.
Remember last week when we talked about Clock Boy?
Oh, yeah.
Bomb, Clock Boy?
Uh-huh.
More breaking news.
Oh, boy. Is it on the lines of... Was it used as a tool to distract?
Police investigators have confirmed 100% it was a purchased clock.
Well, yeah, we knew
taken
that.
apart and put in there.
We knew that.
Okay. Before the police department released the photo of the fake said bomb, before the photo was released to the public,
right?
Obama tweeted, "Come to the White House. We need ingenuity and clocks, things like that." He didn't even know what it looked like. He didn't even know what it was. But he tweeted before the picture even came out. I'm not being a conspiracy theorist here. I'm just stating a fact.
Well, why? What was?
How would he know? How would he know? And why would he tweet so fast?
So you think that this was something that was all in the works?
How would he know? And why would you responsibly tweet so fast into a situation that could have been bad?
Is it possible that what you're saying? Is it possible that Obama sent the order to the father to have his son do this?
Maybe.
Wow.
But why would the president of the United States... We had 15 murdered police officers in the month of August. And Obama tweeted zero, nothing.
Well, his whole thing caused it.
Correct.
His reactions to cops behaving stupidly or whatever he says is what causes these things to happen.
Correct. So, since he didn't tweet or say anything, no comment, no press conference, no release from the White House, nothing, zero. And then Clock Bomb Boy, makes a fake bomb clock and admitted that he didn't want to put a lock on it because it might look suspicious. So he put a cord,
The
a
reason
wire
the cord
around
was
it.
there was because that's how it came when you bought it.
Right. So his father, a radical Muslim, and a troll, if you will, for better words. That's just what they do. It was a dry run. It was a trial run. And Obama tweeted before the image of what had transpired, before that image came out to public, because it was taken by the police officers in that station. There's no way, no reason, no rhyme or reason, that police station would not release that picture to the White House before. I mean, there's just no reason for it. To say, oh, we're going to send this to Obama.
Yeah, let's go ahead and send this. Well, they would send it to the FBI
maybe.
and CIA. And all
Okay,
that.
so FBI, CIA, while it's being circulated, how long do you think it would take for the president to say, hey, you know what? I think I need to tweet about something about this. Let me see a picture of that.
Sir, we have an incident at a little school somewhere in Nowhereville. Some kid brought, he happens to be Muslim.
Right.
And he brought a device that appears to look like a bomb, but it was just a big joke.
Right.
And we needed to let you know that right away. And just FYI.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead and send out a message to the parents. Invite them to the White House.
Tweet it.
He tweeted the invite?
Yes.
Why wouldn't you contact them through other means? Why Twitter?
Tweeted an invite. We need more people like you in America.
And we need everybody to see it through Twitter that we're inviting you to the White House.
Right.
Okay.
So back when Obama was at Harvard Law School, in the review, in the article that they were presenting him, Barack Obama, they were presenting him, the little pamphlet, the little leaflet, I guess he was going to speak, says, Barack Obama, comma, the first African-American president of the Harvard Law Review, was born in Kenya and raised in Indonesia and Hawaii. The son of an American anthropologist and a Kenyan finance minister. Attended Columbia University and worked as a finance... Dude, it's all there. It's all there. All the pieces are there. Why is everybody fighting so hard
Here's my thing about the Bertha thing. It is a fact that nobody can dare deny, lest they be proven wrong by multiple sources that are airtight in their explanation of this. It is a fact that we currently do not know where the hell he was born.
That is an absolute fact. Yes, we do not know where he was born. Right.
Anybody who tries to dispute that we know where he was born is just... Now somebody may come out and say we have proof that he was born in Kenya or whatever. I haven't seen proof that he was born there.
Right.
But here's the key. I have not, and neither has anybody else,
irrefutable proof.
Any proof whatsoever that he was born in the United States.
Right.
And there's even an argument that if he was proven to be born in the United States, that he still may be completely ineligible due to the fact that we have there's a dispute as to what the definition and what the founders believe the definition of, quote, natural born actually means.
Right.
So
I'm just saying.
That's my opinion on the birther movement.
I just wish it would come to light. I wish people would own up. I wish we had that our media wasn't so infiltrated by the communist regime.
Well, what would you think about this, Brian? Now, we've been around since before electronic media.
Right.
And there are probably some places and back in the 1800s, early 1800s, where record keeping was probably not the greatest.
Right.
So there could very well be presidential candidates back then that, maybe the paper trail's a little sketchy. And maybe we don't know for sure whether they were born on... So here's my point. Here's what I'm getting at.
Wow.
Would you accept them saying, okay, yes, I agree with you. We aren't sure where the hell Obama was born. Okay, we'll concede that. But what we're saying is if you can't prove that he was definitely born outside of the United States, you haven't proven that he's ineligible.
Right.
Would you accept that? Like, okay, maybe he was born in Kenya. And yes, it's true. We can't prove that he's born in the United States. But you can't prove that he was born in Kenya. So he's eligible.
No! You've got to be able to prove.
Well, have they
that he
always
was born
been
an
able to?
American?
Has every single U.S. You're saying that
every president of the United States.
Every nominee.
Every
person that came up and said, I'm running for president back in 18...
I didn't say that. I said everybody who's been president has shown their birth certificate as an American citizen. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Or was eligible, otherwise proven eligible.
Correct.
But what about proven? You prove somebody's guilty, or else?
No. When you apply for a job, dude, you're trolling me now. I feel it, dude. When you apply for a
I'm
job,
going down the road.
Yeah, you're going.
I got to hit every avenue.
You're about ready to hit a bridge and button it. when you apply for a job, you have to prove what?
That you're
legally allowed to work in America.
Oh, are you serious? Nobody that may be the law.
Every job I've ever had, you fill out that I-9 and they say, okay, what do you have? I show them my driver's license, my social security card.
Okay. What about all the illegal aliens that are working all over the day?
They buy them.
What if they don't buy them? What do they say?
Well, then that's the company's fault for hiring somebody they know that's illegal. We're talking about the highest job in all of the land, the President of the United States. He should have to show proof of who the boop he is. Who is he?
Well, apparently the law only applies to people when somebody stands up and cries foul, and nobody cried foul on it.
No, we don't have a Congress or Senate that would be willing to step in.
Oh, there are people that were crying foul, but the people whose
listened.
job it was to turn the switch were like, well, I ain't turning the switch.
Man, I feel like people are going to say, man, that last show Brian had, man, he sounded so angry the whole show.
It's because I'm trolling him.
Oh, okay. Well, now you know, folks, it's not me.
But I'm trying to go down every single avenue. I'm like that guy that, you know, when you navigate through a maze.
Right.
I don't just try to find the finish.
Right.
I'm like, well, let me go down every one to make sure that this isn't the right way. Right. I go down every path. And then when every wrong way has been exhausted, then I'm like, all right, this is the right way.
Right.
So I just wanted to make sure I went down that wrong path to make sure that Brian's so angry. No, he's good. He's good to go.
Okay, so
well, Boehner. We need to talk about Boehner.
Yeah, I'm looking him up right now. Okay, so hold on before we get to Boehner, because that's a given. There was big news that came down about a week ago. It was an allegation at the end of last week, and I was going to bring it up for the show, but I was just in such disbelief. Did you hear about Volkswagen?
Oh, whoa, this is a big one.
So
they are, and I didn't know this, they are the largest car company in the world.
Okay, so
did not know that.
Well over a week ago, I saw this article came out, said the EPA is slamming down on VW because they're saying that they use software to cheat the government
when I heard
emission systems. I'm like, okay, that's funny. Okay, cool, whatever. That's no big deal. Well, it is a big deal. They're talking 17 million cars on a recall.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with the car. The recall is to remove the
software.
Cheat chip.
Yeah, the cheat chip. Yeah. Okay, so who in Volkswagen knew about this?
Well, obviously the people that made the program and whoever ordered them to make that program.
It goes all the way to the top.
Well, it has to.
It goes higher than the top.
Higher than the top?
Breaking news this week.
Uh-oh.
Germany's government knew about it.
Oh, boy.
Ursula Merschler?
Ursula Merschler. What? Her name is Merkel.
Ursula Merschler. Yeah, so Obama, while you were spying on her, she was jacking your EPA around.
And does it only apply to the U.S. EPA, or is this a worldwide thing?
Well, as soon as it's leaked that the U.S. has a emissions standard problem, that there's a cheat chip, well, then when you're in Europe, whatever their standards are, you could have a cheat chip for that. It might be lower, it might be higher.
Especially in Europe.
I would imagine it'd be higher because Europe is so socialist. They're almost communist.
They're on the road.
Yeah, and there is no reversing anything in Europe except for a complete failure.
If socialism is the road and communism is the destination, their GPS system is actually right now saying your destination is ahead. Your destination is
keep a lookout. Your destination is quickly approaching.
Is on the left.
It's on the left, quickly approaching.
Not the right, the left.
Yes, of course it is.
So yeah, Angela Merkel. What did you say, Merkel?
Ursula. Ursula.
How do you? That has to be the most epic butcher of a name I think I've ever heard.
Car Ferrari.
We went from Angela Merkel to Ursula. I don't even know. Wow.
Car Ferrari.
Yeah. This is going to be the thing now. Brian's going to be that guy that will butcher the names so bad. It'll be the thing now.
And I love you all out there so much. Please, for those of you who know me, please don't take it personal. It's not. No, it's fun.
Right. The thing is Brian's doing this intentionally.
I mean,
but it's hilarious because it's so butchered.
When we make fun of Geraldo Revolto, that's okay.
That is okay.
But Car Ferrari's not.
The stash.
The pedo stash.
Oh, no, pedo stash is more...
he's got the handlebar stash.
Well, handlebar's more like...
Cowboy?
Hulk Hogan.
Oh.
Hulk Hogan's the
no, that's the
handlebar.
Fu Manchu.
Is it?
Yeah.
I got to get my nomenclature down.
So let's jump into Speaker of the House, Republican John Boehner. He has now come out in he says, okay, we'll go by this. After nearly 5 years as Speaker of the House, Boehner told stunned rank-and-file GOP lawmakers in a tearful speech morning that he would resign from Congress. He would resign as Speaker of the House and Congress.
Which is really...
Speaker of the House
amazing.
And Congress. Resign completely at the end of October.
So I have some opinions on this. But what's the story? I mean, everybody was coming... My first initial reaction is that this grassroots Tea Party libertarian movement is just swelled and somehow put some sort of psychological pressure on him that has caused him to crack and say, I got to get out of here.
Right.
That's my initial reaction.
Right. When even in his speech on Friday, which it was just so hard to listen to, but I did it for you folks because we're all over the place for you. So in his speech, he started making excuses. Well, after the first term, and second term doing 2 terms, 2 years, I started to think, okay, well, we lost, the majority Republican lost his seat last year. And so I was going to step down as Speaker of the House. But now that I know that he'd lost his seat, I figured I'd go ahead and stand for one more term. Come to find out, no. He was being greedy, and he was going to go for another 2 years. And then he kept saying, yeah, 2 years. And then I had a close encounter with the Pope. And the Pope reached out to me, spoke to me in English.
Broken English.
And he said to me, pray for me, Boehner, pray for me. And I thought to myself, I said, who am I?
Is this an exact quote?
Who am I to pray for the Pope? And I knew I had to do what had to be done. I have to step down, not after 1 year into my term, not after 2 years into my term, after 11 months. 10 months. It just feels right. 10 months. Not only am I stepping down as Speaker of the House in 10 months, but I'm quitting my job in the Senate, in the Congress. I'm quitting my job.
Doesn't make any sense. And let me. I have two questions for two different groups of people.
By the way, he really did say all of what I just said.
Are you serious?
Honest to good, he said everything that I just said.
I'm thinking, wow, Brian's really ad-libbing this pretty well.
No, that story was from him directly on Friday. Google it.
So screwy. So
it came in minute 1.5.
So for all of our baby boomer and older generation listeners, I got to ask you, when have you ever heard of a elected official having resigned for no legal reason or any kind of pressure to get in any kind of big trouble legally, any kind of scandal? No, honestly, ask yourself, when has that ever happened where somebody just stepped down without any kind of a medical, legal, or some sort of a serious problem?
Nixon? Oh, he was legal.
They're totally legal. Okay?
Legal problems.
For all you younger guys, oh, wow. What was that? We have technical difficulties. For all of you younger guys, I want to tell you that this is unprecedented.
Yeah. This
does not happen.
No.
This does not happen. So here's the thing. We got a guy who we don't know about any kind of legal pressures as far as any kind of scandals. Has he broken any laws? Is there some women that are, that have been...
Are they coming to him like they went to Roberts so that Roberts would pass, Justice Roberts would pass Obamacare?
How did they come to Roberts?
Oh, they showed him the pictures that they had on him.
Whoa.
Yeah,
okay.
They presented the pictures to him that they had on him, the dirty laundry stuff, and they said, if you don't pass Obamacare, we're going to let everybody know what you've been doing.
Which we never heard anything about ever since then. He just inexplicably just came up with some, it's like he came up with some convoluted, twisted like a pretzel, spin. Let's figure out a way to twist this to make it look like
I've never known him to twist anything that bad. I don't know if any justice, even the lunatic left liberal justice, I don't even think they've ever twisted anything.
Well, okay, there's a line that you have to draw between A and B, right? And A is where a decision needs to be made, and B is what ends up being the decision. Okay, so you have to draw that line. You have to make that line, and Roberts could have made a straight line, and the decision would have been that it has to be struck down. It's unconstitutional.
Right.
But instead, he draws this squiggly, crazy line all over the place, and ends up at B, which is not the correct B, but which is that, it is legal. We do have to keep it Obamacare. So anyway, I think what we're going to find out with Boehner is, honestly, we may never know what the truth is, because him stepping down from everything might have actually kept everybody quiet. Just like Roberts allowing Obamacare has kept all the blackmailers silent. So I think he's getting blackmailed.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody does this.
Okay, so I did a quick Google real quick on Speaker of the House resigning for no apparent reason, and I'm going down the list. Hassert, feds indict. Jim Wright, resign amidst ethics violations.
What? So there's already...
Brown Bishop resigns as Speaker. I mean, but they had... but like you're saying, there are some issues going on with these people who have resigned.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But I can't find...
nobody...
petitions.moveon.org. For these reasons, we feel that the Speaker is either unable or unwilling to carry out his duties. That was for John Boehner. That's what they said about John Boehner.
Nobody does that.
He's unable and unwilling to carry out his duties.
Politicians do not ever do that.
No, they own it. They love controversy. They love the limelight.
Power. It's the power.
The power trip.
They will never give up power without an extremely good reason. Never.
Well, look at Hillary.
Look at the the fire hoops that they jump through, the obstacle course. It's like American Ninja Warrior out there to stay in power. And they don't just. Let me put it to you this way:
they have to be indicted to leave.
Okay, so you watch American Ninja Warrior.
Okay.
The guy's up on the monkey rings or whatever, trying to negotiate the obstacle. If he falls off,
right,
he ends up in the water. He loses.
Ooh, we don't want that.
Imagine him hanging on, having the strength to hang on, having the ability to finish negotiating the obstacle.
Right.
But instead of doing that, he looks at the crowd and he's like, and enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, people. he lets go with one hand and waves to all of his fans. Goodbye. I had fun getting this far. I can finish this, but I'm just going to go. You know what? I just need to get in this water. And just drop off. That is the equivalent to what Boehner did. No reason whatsoever.
Okay. Tom Brady, Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Winning touchdown.
Right.
He stops, calls a timeout, goes to the ref, says, "Hey, man, my balls are deflated."
Whoa, dude, keep that to yourself.
No. You got to know about this. I know we're about ready to win the Super Bowl. There's 1 minute left. I'm about ready to throw a touchdown. We're going to win it. We're actually winning. We don't even need this touchdown. We're already in the lead. We're winning.
Yeah.
And we will win this.
All I have to do is take a knee.
Yep, take a knee. But I'll tell you what, my balls
did not take a knee.
My balls are deflated, and you need to call me out on it, and we will
turn myself in.
Turn myself in. We are forfeiting the Super Bowl.
There you go. We're forfeiting it. That's literally what's happening.
Forfeit the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that does not happen.
You won the Super Bowl and you forfeit it.
That's a good analogy.
Boehner already won the Super Bowl by being as Speaker of the House
to finish the game.
Right. Well, yeah, okay, because he had another year and 2 months. How do you quit at 10 months? And why did he say in September, second to last week of September, I'm going to quit at the end of next month? Why don't you just leave this month, bro?
I'm outie. Peace.
5,000.
Put out the 2 peace signs right in front of the green helicopter like Nixon. And
whoa! and tell everybody, I am no crook.
The people deserve to know whether their president's a crook. Well, I'm going to tell you right now. John Boehner may be a crook, but I'm not a crook.
Yeah, who knows? Who really? And that article. What about that article you were reading that said we know why John Boehner?
Yeah, so I read this article. Well, let me tell you how I found this article.
I couldn't take it because he told me about the whole article. I'm in it.
We're totally in. Okay. So you can find this article too. I Googled, why did John Boehner quit? I literally Googled that whole phrase.
Okay.
And there were several articles. One was from CNN, and CNN, I just was like, I knew what they were going to say already, so I skimmed through that one.
Yeah.
But there was this other one. It may have been on Breitbart, but whatever. It was probably Breitbart. And so I started reading it, and it goes through this multi-paragraph article explaining why all the things that we are hearing in the news as to why he may have quit can't possibly be why he quit.
Right.
And so I'm like, on the edge of my seat, I'm like, wait, I can't wait to hear why they think he really quit.
Yeah, like I want to know why.
And by the way, in the title, really was in all caps.
No.
So it was why did he really quit?
Like we know something you don't know.
Right. So I'm going through, and at the very end of this article, it said, we don't know, and we probably won't have any idea for at least several months.
We'll never know. Nobody will ever know.
And we may never know. Minimum of several months and possibly never know.
Oh, who was that? Oh, that was, you said this was from CNN? This article was CNN?
No, I think it was Breitbart.
Okay. Because that guy who went on a jihad and killed people / the gay man and gay journalist.
Yeah, gay journalist. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. At the very end where he killed himself, the CNN journalist that got the top secret notes and report, 8-long page, I'm killing myself.
Oh, you mean the 29-page manifesto?
Yeah, 29-page manifesto from him. And at the end of the CNN reporter's report, well, he killed himself, so I guess we'll never know.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Oh, I was so outraged when I heard that. Was it CNN? I thought it was
it. It was it.
Oh, that was so outrageous.
Because they got
I
it.
started screaming at the radio when I heard that. I was screaming. I was like, "What do you mean you'll never know?" He actually, what are those fax?
Yeah.
They actually faxed a 26-page manifesto. Of course, you know why he did it,
Right?
And they sat there and lied to everybody who's listening to their report that I guess we'll never know.
No.
Of course you know. It's called a manifesto.
Right, but you'll never know.
Oh, talk about censorship. That's you know what that's called? That's called lying by omission.
Right.
They lied to you. Well, it was actually an actual lie.
Right.
But also by not telling you about the manifesto was also lying by omission. But
Right.
anyway.
No, you're absolutely right.
So mad.
So we'll never know.
So mad about it.
So we'll never know why Boehner quit.
We may not actually.
Ever
Unless
know.
What about his 26-page manifesto?
Did you get it? Did you get a copy of that?
We have it right here.
Oh, Lord. Oh,
And
at the very end, look at the very last line. What does it say?
it says, "I'm never going to tell you."
So we will never know.
I am so sorry.
So did you hear Mark Levin put out a tweet? Because apparently there are 3 big names that are in the run, if you will, to fill the vacuum. And
The black hole.
Black hole, that is a vacuum. Representative Dennis Ross, Republican, Florida, blasted out an email to lawmakers Friday seeking their support and what's expected to be a crowded race for majority whip. Eyeing the same position, Representative Mark Wayne Mullen of Oklahoma and Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy.
Oh, yeah,
coming
that's
to California.
That's the guy from California.
Is the heavy favorite to replace Boehner as Speaker of the House and has already begun to make calls to colleagues. So Mark Levin tweeted, McCarthy is Eric Cantor with 10 less IQ points.
That's a horrible assessment.
Right.
Assessment, yeah.
Bobby Jindal, he put out something.
What'd he say?
He said, Mitch McConnell, you're next.
Oh, I love it.
And then I put out one, because I'm relevant. I put out...
Well, you're a celebrity.
Yeah. I put out, said, the trifecta. I called it a trifecta, too, because the third that's got to go, Lindsey Graham.
Absolutely.
That's the trifecta.
Yeah. How is he not dropped out of the presidential run? He is polling... Only people that are supporting him are immediate family members. Even distant family members are like, oh, hell no.
He says it's not fair. We should have less debates.
It's because you got to hear what I got to say.
You got to hear
what I got to say.
Speaking of that, the DNC, the Democrat National Chair, Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Was a man?
Was a man Schultz, right.
And she does have a voice, man.
Oh, did you see the Adam's apple? It's the size of an apple.
Oh, I was going to use the 40-year-old virgin. Was it?
What?
There's a quote from, I believe it's the 40-year-old virgin.
Okay.
The movie.
Okay.
I
don't know the quote.
It's a family show.
Okay.
So,
that's
I'll
for
just
late,
tweet that.
late night event. Well, okay. so Desi
Was a man Schultz.
Was a man Schultz. The Democrat Party is clamoring for more debates, but they're not doing debates because Hillary doesn't want debates, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz is putting debates on hold.
Well, why wouldn't she?
For right now.
Because it's all about Hillary with her.
Right.
She is a walking demagogue.
She's Hillary or Wasserman?
Wasserman.
Okay.
She is just
this week.
Awful.
This week, Hillary is now becoming a volatile Molotov cocktail.
Okay.
Instead of filling it with gasoline, they filled it with nitroglycerin.
Oh, so if you shake it, it can blow up.
Yes.
Whew, that would not be good.
The FBI and high-level Department of Defense investigators have found the missing emails on her hard drive.
Ooh, this is devastating.
96 emails that were claimed
96
were claimed to not have been found. We're just gone, missing. Are 2 months worth of emails during the Benghazi era.
Oh, this is gonna be juicy.
Yeah,
This is gonna be so juicy.
yeah. It's
She
just
needs to go down. Somebody needs to be held accountable for the negligence. I'm not one of these idiots that's saying.
well, they're saying that these emails
I don't want to call
expose
people idiots, but
well
because it could
expose Obama and Hillary, saying that they fully well aware and implemented the lie of the movie maker.
Of course. Well, I'm sorry if it may actually be true that Hillary ordered Benghazi to happen in order to eliminate people, and I don't think that it's stupid to believe that. So I don't mean to call anybody an idiot for believing that, but I don't need to go down that far. I just want to call it criminal negligence at this point. If it turns out that it was an actual willful effort to eliminate enemies or people that know too much or whatever, great. Let's throw people in prison for the rest of their life for that stuff.
Okay,
That's
Hillary
cool.
and Obama, because the inside story is Christopher Stevens, the ambassador, that was sodomized by Muslims and then drugged through the streets and killed. You gotta know that that's how they killed him. They literally raped the man.
Yeah.
That's what the Muslims did. Okay. He knew that all the gun running and all the stuff that Obama and Hillary were doing to the Syrians and the bad guys, he knew about it all. And apparently, some say, that this comes from the Glenn Beck show, some say that he had to be removed because he knew
And
too
by
much.
removed, you mean from the universe. Yeah.
Because he knew too much. And the way that he was removed is just nobody should ever have to die a horrible death like that.
Yeah,
That's just so
give
wrong.
him a cyanide pill or something.
Something.
Or get Bill Cosby on that.
At least he can sleep through it.
Oh. No, I mean, you look.
You go to sleep and never wake
If you
up.
get Bill Cosby involved, you can just have him replace his drug of choice with the government's drug of choice.
Oh,
and then you just kill him. And it's humane. That's a much more humane way to do it than the way Hillary did it.
Oh, yes.
But let's just say that she really was just ignorant, okay? We got to bust somebody for criminal negligence. For them to know what was going on and then react to it the way they did, minimum criminal negligence.
Okay.
So you're saying that these emails that she illegally eliminated through wiping the server, whatever she did
Right.
with a cloth, that's why they recovered them. They said wipe the server, and she actually did wipe it with a cloth.
Right.
Like, it's clean. I mean,
So I got into
the
this.
casing of it.
So I got into this discussion with Carrie was it last night? Yeah, it was last night.
Probably.
We were talking about this, and I said, okay, if I took a scribe, like a really sharp point, even like a drill bit, like a real sharp drill bit, and held the hard drive in my hand, the shiny metal, and I took the
Would I get into the weeds too much if I told him how it works?
No, but if I start scratching and digging, or even if I break it apart,
Yeah.
and you said to me,
Yeah, they recover that.
and I said, what?
Yeah, because the way they would do it, you got to understand. Okay, if you know anything about a CD, the discs on a hard drive are similar.
Compact disc.
Yeah, some of these low information youngsters out there are like, what do you mean a CD?
Did you hear
got
CDs are in decline? Absolutely.
course.
They're falling
They're
through.
almost done.
They're almost gone. Yeah.
I mean, the MP3s have taken over. Well, if you know anything about CDs, it has ones and zeros on a line that circles the CD like an old LP,
right.
and that's why it has to spin so that the reader can read the ones and zeros, and it's on a single line that spirals all the way to the center of the disc or to the outside of the disc. On a hard drive, what you have is the same thing, ones and zeros, spiraling around the disc. Spin so that the reader can read the ones and zeros. What?
You're good.
What do you...
My bad. Keep going.
I was distracted. So we have the on a hard drive, you have multiple discs piled up on top of each other, and all the readers are in between each disc, and the whole thing spins all at once. And that way you can really
load up information.
You can load up and retrieve information a lot faster when you have multiple disks sandwiched together with multiple readers. So anyway, it's just a line with ones and zeros on it that spirals all the way to the center of a disk.
Oh, like a record.
You're right.
Okay.
So if you snapped it in half, the disk itself, all they would have to do is retrieve all the ones and zeros on all the line segments on one piece, and then another piece, and then another piece, and however many pieces you broke.
You can
and then
piece
put
it
back
together.
put all the ones and zeros back together, and you'll have all the information you need. And even if you're wrong on a couple of ones and zeros here and there,
You still pick up most of it.
you'll be able to fill in the pieces.
Right.
You'll be able to fill those in. As far as burning is concerned, you'd have to be able to get to the ones and zeros.
Well, you'd have to melt it. Like if
Now,
you
if it's
melted it,
that could be a problem. That could
So,
definitely be a problem.
so apparently, a lot of the people that were involved with Hillary at this time, all their cell phones have gone missing.
Oh, that's not that. It's so incriminating.
Cell phones are gone.
See,
And they were focused on Tom Brady and his balls being small, deflated.
Can I give you the legalese description of what she did?
Okay.
When you take away everybody who you know is involved, all evidence from them, what you're doing is you're replacing empirical evidence with circumstantial evidence.
Okay.
Because empirical evidence can cause proof. If you have circumstantial evidence is not proof, but enough circumstantial evidence could lead a jury to not have any more reasonable doubt.
Oh, yeah,
And then-
yeah.
so you can
when
still
when it's
convict.
beyond a reasonable doubt.
Right. So Lacey Peterson and Scott Peterson, remember she ended up missing. She was the pregnant woman that just disappeared. And
Yep.
Scott Peterson was like, I don't know.
Let's look for her.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he was,
right,
he was
right.
trying to pull an OJ. He went to the golf course and started looking for her. He really did.
Yeah, he did.
He
look
played
all
golf.
over for her. Yeah, he looked all over for her. And what they ended up finding out, his alibi was that he went to this lake in a canoe.
Okay.
So then they started searching the canoe.
But the lake in a canoe in the middle of the night, like 2:00 in the morning.
Something like that. They found particles of concrete inside the canoe.
What?
They found forms in his basement for the creation of concrete, what he called anchors.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
So, but check this out. All of that is circumstantial.
Correct.
They actually found her body at the bottom of the lake he said he was at.
That's insane.
All of that is circumstantial.
Because you can't prove it. Nobody saw it.
And I'll tell you why it's circumstantial. Let's say I killed Lacey Peterson. If I knew that he was at the lake at that time, and he was in his canoe, and I have her dead body, what am I going to do with that dead body? I'm going to put it in that lake
right.
to frame him.
Oh.
So it's very possible.
So you framed Scott Peterson?
I did. But that's okay because he's in prison and the case is closed.
Oh, okay. Good.
So that being said, he was convicted with a mountain of circumstantial evidence. However, if they found a photograph of him with Lacey going onto the boat or a body,
right,
and there was like surveillance, that's empirical evidence. And they would be like, okay, so you did do it, and so you're convicted. So so Clinton has all of these illegal emails. She sent them from her server to the cell phones of all of her people. Any one of those emails is empirical evidence.
And she had cell phones, or she had servers in that she was paying a company.
Oh boy,
air quotes company.
Right.
One of the servers was in this guy's apartment in the bathroom closet.
Why in the bathroom?
Because that's the only place he could put it.
So he's like, where
I don't know
can I
to
put this thing?
Right.
Oh, there's room in the bathroom closet.
Right.
Gotta put wires and everything.
Yes.
All right. So there's empirical evidence that she needs to get rid of. The actual getting rid of all of this empirical evidence, each time she does it, is a solid piece of circumstantial evidence.
Right.
So she's just hoping that she can do the Johnny Cochran defense.
Right.
The Chewbacca defense. Right. The if the glove don't fit, you must acquit thing. And which, by the way, is more circumstantial evidence the glove at the scene, O.J. Simpson's, his blood on it. Whatever.
Blood in his car, blood on him.
Oh, my gosh. He had so much circumstantial
There's blood
evidence.
everywhere. It's coming out of his eyes, coming out of his ears, wherever.
So yeah, and I can understand if you're about to go to prison and you got all this empirical evidence for you and you're going to, by getting, well, what did you do with all those cell phones? Oh, I got rid of them. Well, where are they? I destroyed them. Well, what about your server? I destroyed that too.
Why are you destroying all this stuff?
All of that circumstantial evidence. That's all going to be brought up in court. They're going to be saying, ladies and gentlemen of the supposed jury, Hillary Clinton destroyed all of this because it was loaded with the evidence that was going to convict her because it was empirical evidence.
And
that is all going to be presented as the circumstantial mountain of evidence that's going to leave no more reasonable doubt.
And her lawyer is going to say, liar. Liar.
How's the
liar?
Okay.
And this week, she has come out and said, this is the same stuff they were doing to me back in the 90s.
It's a vast right-wing conspiracy.
Yep.
Which, by the way...
That's what she said all week. It's a right-wing conspiracy. They did this to me and my husband in the 90s.
I figured out?
In the 90s.
Now, we've talked about this on this show before, and it's a good time to bring it up again. We here at Smith Radio believe that projection explains everything.
Well, not only do we believe it, we know it.
Yeah.
Well, it's factual.
We can show you how projection explains everything. So way back in the 90s, when Hillary Clinton was talking about a vast right-wing conspiracy and we all laughed it off, turns out the reason she thinks that there's a vast right-wing conspiracy is because she felt back then that if she had the power that the right wing had at the time, that she would have done that.
Bingo.
Now that she has the power, she's doing it. And why do we know she's doing it? Because she projected it to us back then by saying that there's a vast... She believed that there was a vast right-wing conspiracy.
So maybe she's actually certifiably insane.
She has... when she believes in conspiracies.
Or paranoia.
Well, the reason she believes in them is because she knows them to be true.
Right.
Because now she's the author of them.
Right.
In her mind, she's like, hey, they did it to me in the 90s, which, by the way, certifiable.
Right.
It's not true.
Right, no.
But that's how she's justifying her conspiracies today. She's justifying it by saying, well, that's what they did in the 90s. And the only way for us to compete is to match it.
Yeah, Bill Clinton came out this week and said something about, those emails. If it was, they're just trying to, because she'll win it.
She'll win what?
The presidency.
Oh, no. She said that, he said Trump.
Now would get the Republican nomination.
Yeah, he said, Bill Clinton has predicted that Donald Trump. William H. Jefferson Clinton.
What? Jefferson Davis?
Oh, yeah. He's named after Jefferson Davis. Well, he's from Arkansas.
Arkansas.
So anyway, the slave state. I mean,
formerly known. They've repented, sort of.
Yeah.
They had an exorcism.
Okay. I'll buy that. They had the Pope come in for that purpose.
Whoa. Nice.
So anyway, yeah, he came out and didn't endorse him exactly. but he did predict.
In a roundabout way, he endorsed him.
I'm sure Donald Trump retweeted that.
Yes.
Guarantee you he retweeted that. So William Jefferson Clinton has come out and predicted Donald Trump to win the GOP nomination.
Right. So what's going on with the DNC and the Democrat? Well, they showed a timeline this week of Hillary Clinton's approval or
disapproval
or disapproval rating. Her percentage at one point in time a few months ago, just short. We're talking about this year alone. At one point in time, she was garnering almost 60 to 70% of people polled that they would vote for her.
Wow.
It was huge, 60, 70%. She's falling. I saw the chart. It's like a cliff. It's just going straight down.
And I keep hearing all of these conflicting reports on numbers. Initially, they were saying Bernie Sanders is crept ahead of Clinton, but what they didn't tell you, or at least they didn't make it really clear, was that they were polling a certain state.
Right, individual states, New Hampshire,
and
things
so
like
they
that.
didn't want to call him the front runner yet because
he only ran that state.
Because nationally, she's still ahead.
Right.
Then, like a week or two ago, I heard, there's a national poll that came out that puts him slightly ahead of her. But then I haven't heard that repeated since, so it obviously must not have been a very accurate poll. So he's still, at the end of the day, it's a really scary time in American history when a guy who can come out and say socialist, which you know what that means. That means 8 years from now, there's going to be a guy that comes out that says, yeah, I'm running for the Communist Party.
The article that talked about Bernie Sanders called him the Democrat socialist Bernie Sanders.
Right. No, he admits it.
Right.
He says, I'm a socialist, and is that a dirty word?
Is that a problem with y'all? I'm not allowed to run like that?
Did you hear what Fox News, their first report that I heard right after...
Faux?
Faux News.
F-A-U-X.
That's pronounced faux for those of you.
Because I'm not French.
Right.
This is French. So the A, the U, and the X are silent.
Oh. I still don't know how to pronounce Laboidio or Laboidier or what. It's like it has A-E-I-O-U-X-X-X-A-O-X-E-E-A.
It's worse than trying to pronounce some kind of Chinese name.
You can't read their symbols unless you speak.
No way, you got X's and ones and L's and P's and T's and no vowels.
Oh, you mean the English
XI? What does XI say? How do you pronounce XI?
Oh, Z.
Not in China.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
The English pronunciation of XI would be Z. So anyway, so Fox News, their first report after Obamacare was finally passed and done with was, our grand socialist, we now live in a socialist country. The grand socialist country is now complete. Now, from here forward, it's just a matter of managing it. Right. From now on, the government's role in our new officially socialist country is to how to run our socialist country, how to manage the socialism.
So Bernie Sanders, and Bernie Sanders, I'm the socialist to do that for you, which he probably is. I got to take him for his word. I don't know the guy, but I will take him for his word if he says I am a socialist and I will run this country like socialist country. I've got to believe that he'll do that.
Well, you got to be a socialist.
Right, and he claims to be one.
Right, so I don't really fault him for saying it. Now, Brian, do you want to hear my take on socialists and socialism?
Oh.
I may have actually said this before, but I want to reiterate it.
Let's hear this. Go ahead.
Here's my opinion. There is no such thing as a socialist, and there's no such thing as socialism.
Yes, we've talked about yes.
As a party, I mean. There is no socialist party, and there's no socialist people.
No, correct.
And I have talked about this on the show before, but now is the perfect time to repeat it. So, socialism is the road to communism.
So you're saying it's like fox in sheep clothing?
Well,
the wolf in sheep clothing.
They're
pretending to be some kind of helper of the people. I'm about social problems.
And you'll hear people all the time, even Republicans, say, "Well, a certain amount of socialism is good. A certain amount."
Because we got to help the people. I'm about society. They're trying to change the word of socialism being about society. I'm all about society. I love.
Well, you can't just let people live on the streets.
I love poor people. I love those dirty poor people.
Oh, man.
So he says that to win your heart, bleeding heart liberal, and win your heart over, and then he takes off the sheep's clothing. It's
okay.
Like, I'm really a communist.
A socialist, if you... I'm probably not going to do this as eloquently as I've done in text before, in actual writing, a tweet or whatever, but socialism is the road to communism. So anybody that advocates for any socialist policies or socialism in general is advocating for the progress towards communism.
Okay, so
you're not. So by calling somebody a socialist is kind of hiding the truth here, because if you give them what they want, where do you end up? Do you end up in a socialist state? Do you end up in a social society of that we would call socialism? No, you reach the destination, which is communism.
So if we were all on a big giant bus,
right,
and the bus driver had GPS on and it was talking to it.
Okay, so let's say our destination is L.A.
Okay.
So are we advocating for, let's say we're all on a bus to L.A. and everybody wants to go to L.A. Everybody on the bus is like, we want L.A. That's where we want to go.
All right.
Do we say that these people are supporters of riding in buses?
No,
or
these are supporters of L.A.
Of going to L.A. We want to go to L.A.
You mean you're not in support of Greyhound?
What if I said, well, okay, I know you guys all want to go to L.A., but we're just going to ride this bus in circles, and you guys are going to be perfectly happy with that because you're on a bus.
Right, and you're going to be called Greyhounders.
And great. That's exactly
you're going to be called Greyhounders.
All these people on this Greyhound bus want to go to a single destination. They don't want to be driving around all day. They want to get to their destination.
No, but they're Greyhounders, so they're going to stay here.
I love this analogy.
They're going to stay here. They're Greyhounders. Want to stay in a loop.
There's GOP.
We're on 275 going around Cincinnati nonstop, and we're not getting off.
And there are people on the side of the road or in their vehicles, in cars next to that Greyhound bus saying, I support that Greyhound bus being there because that Greyhound bus needs to be there because there's some people that need to be on a Greyhound bus. Wrong.
Why don't we get an entire country and put them all on the Greyhound bus?
Why not? Oh, wow. No, and they would say no. A certain amount of Greyhound is okay.
Oh.
But we don't. But what if I said, well, they're going to L.A.? No. We don't want to go to L.A.
No, but they're on a Greyhound bus.
They're
Greyhounders. They're not LAers.
I love this analogy. From now on, when we're talking about the relationship between socialism and communism, we need to relate it to people on a bus that want to go
called Greyhounders.
Want to go to L.A. Yes. Or it could be a plane, whatever.
Right.
Do they want to fly around? They just want to be on a plane. No, they want to get to their destination.
And what is the final destination?
Communism. There is no destination called socialism
because it never
bus.
stops there. It doesn't stop
bus.
there.
Right.
The slippery slope. You hear it all the time, but it's true. It's a fact. That is the slope. Like you're on a sled at the top of Mount Everest, and you're on that special sled that National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, where Chevy Chase sprays this special non-stick stuff on the bottom of his sled.
Yeah.
Right. He goes through 3 towns, 3 counties.
It ends up accelerating him somehow. Right. He defies the laws of physics.
He actually picks up more speed than he could ever. It continues with the speed.
Definitely violating the conservation of energy.
Correct. So you're top Mount Everest with that sled, and you're going top Mount Everest capitalism. The bottom Mount Everest is communism. And as you're on the ride down, you're riding down in socialism.
Okay, all right.
You're riding on the sled, and the sled was made by socialists and called a socialist sled.
Constitutional libertarians are like, stop the sled and get off
the sled.
Get your boots back on and climb back up here.
But Carrie, it's too hard to go up,
and people can't breathe up here. We're gonna need a government run oxygen tank program.
Man. Total Recall all over again.
Oh man,
where the government sells air.
Let's throw that.
The government sold oxygen.
You're talking about Spaceballs. Remember Perrier?
They cracked open a can of Perrier,
and he was sniffing it,
smelling.
We don't have a problem with the air in our. And as soon as he turns he
was the president of the country.
As soon as he got off the air, he opened up his drawer and pulled out a can of Perrier and had to sniff it up. Wow.
No, but Total Recall, when they were on the planet Mars, right? Mm-hmm. No, the government pumped air in, and if you didn't beholden and live up to the government. They stopped, and they did it one time. They stopped the fans from moving, and everybody just stood there and looked up.
It was like, we got a problem.
We got no air. They're shutting us
We
down.
need to send more taxes to the government.
And that creature came out of his stomach and said, "Open your mind."
Oh, I thought we were talking about Alien.
It was the creature. Oh,
well, that was the one that came out of the stomach and ran off.
yeah, no. The one in Total Recall actually came. He opened his shirt up. This guy did to Arnold, and all of a sudden it came out was this.
Yeah,
Morph
he was
thing.
a Siamese twin.
Right. And
That might not be
whoa,
conjoined twin.
whoa. Why? Because they only have.
Ben Carson knows better. You don't call them Siamese twins. That's racist.
Did he correct somebody on that?
No, but when he said I'm the only person to separate
Conjoined twins.
he didn't say Siamese twins because that's not politically correct anymore.
Oh,
Which, by the way, the reason they're called Siamese twins is because the first Siamese twins to ever be separated, I think,
yeah.
they were Siamese.
Yeah. We are Siamese, if you please.
And now you're talking about the movie Lady and the Tramp. Wow.
And that's not racist.
And those
that's
were
not
cats.
racist. Yeah, those
were
were
cats.
Yeah, Siamese.
They were not humans.
Siamese twin cats.
But they weren't even conjoined.
But they were Siamese, if you please.
Isn't it interesting that there were two of them?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Little creepy.
But they weren't conjoined.
No, but they were singing in
and they were creepy.
They were singing in harmony.
They were, yeah, okay. So anyway.
So get off the sled of socialism because it will slip you into the town of communism.
It is literally a slippery slope.
Yes.
Wow. I love this. This is a great show.
Yes. No, I'm enjoying this profusely. So,
did we hit everything?
Yeah. Let me once again, Donald Trump is making headlines for doing his best impression of the soup Nazi.
Really?
The soup Nazi. Do
we have an audio clip? Because this is news to me, actually.
We did have an audio clip.
No soup for you.
No soup for you.
Is he? You don't have an audio? Oh, we just teased everybody and let them down.
Okay, so he is being the soup Nazi. No soup for you. This time it's with Fox News that treated him unfairly. So Fox News, no interview for you.
Oh, no interview for you.
None.
Okay.
Why are you saying it like an Asian person?
No, it was actually he was Russian or something, wasn't he? Or Greek or something? Middle Eastern. Not Middle Eastern. He was Eastern European.
Yeah.
It's Central European.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. All I know is if you see Seinfeld, by the way, that episode was based on somebody that is for real a soup Nazi in Manhattan.
Wow.
Yeah, so basically, you go at lunch, and it's Manhattan, so there's literally like probably 1 million people there. They're online.
Don't talk to
you have a certain given amount of time for lunch, so you have to hurry through the line. Any delay whatsoever, he kicks you out of line.
He told Elaine. Elaine's like, you know who you remind me of? Al Pacino.
Oh, no.
And he looked at her and said, oh, you funny girl, huh? You funny. No soup for you.
Oh, no.
1 year.
A whole year?
1 year.
Oh,
so she would try and trick Kramer to go in and get it for her. And he's like, no. I can't do that. No,
he's scared. He's scared of the soup Nazi.
So then all of a sudden at the end of the show, they show Kramer eating his soup, lounging on the cash register, talking to the soup Nazi. Say, man, I understand your plight. I don't understand these people. Like Kramer was connected.
And so he was. He had special favors.
Right.
Oh, that is hilarious.
Oh,
I have to bust out that episode again.
So I guess. Well, lastly, I wanted to touch on this. Obama quote: "The future must not belong to those who slander the Prophet of Islam." So when it comes to addressing rumors that President Obama will issue blanket amnesty for illegal immigrants, Iowa Republican Steve King isn't pulling his punches. He's letting his punches fly.
Good.
In a candid interview with Newsmax TV, which I don't even know if that's really a real TV.
Oh, I mean, I don't know if they have .TV. I mean, that's like a website that shows videos.
Right. Well, we call ourselves Smith Radio, and radio has nothing to do with what we do.
Technically, we do not broadcast over radio waves.
Correct.
Not at all.
It should be Smith Broadcasting Station in internet world.
Well, we will be.
But that was already taken.
Oh,
so I couldn't buy it. Yeah.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
I know, so I had to go with Smith. I just had to.
Oh, man, I hate, and they, anyway.
Okay. So he's not, Newsmax TV, Republican King called on Americans to march to Washington, surround the White House in protest of unilateral amnesty order, warning that America would be turned into a lawless third world nation with a king in the White House if the amnesty should happen, and talked about the possibilities of the I word.
He said the I word.
Yes.
He didn't, like he was making a joke about how you can't say it.
No, he said, in this situation, all bets are off. Everything's on the table, including the I word.
Oh, that I word.
Yeah.
I was thinking of a different I word.
Impeachment.
But he didn't say the word impeachment.
He said I word.
I actually applaud that.
Really?
Except for the fact that I didn't know what he was talking about at first.
Well, the commentator, the guy that he was talking to, said, by the way, by that I word, what do you mean?
No, really?
He did. He did.
I want you to say it.
Yeah.
Say it.
Yeah, I shut it down. I didn't get that part. I said, okay.
Because he did say that.
Yes.
You say it. You say it now.
So this was also reported on by Western Journalism. I don't know, whatever that is all about. So, yeah, it's real. It's out there. There's a lot of things going on. I mean, I forgot.
What?
Stampede.
I feel like I need to beg for forgiveness after thoughts that
I didn't care.
Nah. By care you mean CAIR.
I had a care about me.
Pun intended.
Completely intended. Okay, so apparently every year, Islamic Muslims make...
Is there a different type of Muslim?
No, just...
Is there a Christian Muslim?
Could there be?
No.
No, never. So Muslims make a trek to Mecca every year. And when I say a trek, they don't drive their Toyota trucks. They leave those at home.
Oh, the white ones?
The white ones with the howitzers on the back.
Oh, man.
They just got some brand new, what they refer to as HT?
HT what?
High HE Toyotas, high end.
Really?
Yeah,
there's a high end.
There's a
Is
special,
there an LE?
No, there's a special
end.
Toyota called a high end Toyota.
Okay.
There's
a heavy duty.
No, high end. No, this is it's a 4-door complete luxury Lexus like. It's a Lexus.
But is it the full size? Because the Toyotas you see in the Middle East are not the Tundra. Was it Tundra and Tacoma?
Tacoma,
right,
the little ones,
and they're from the '80s, by the way. And we're not talking.
They're so old. They have rust on them from being in the desert.
Wow, they're like over 1,000 years old.
Right. So they got the 4-door, completely Lexusized Toyota. I mean, it's just loaded to the gills.
Okay.
They leave those at home and they make a march. They make a trek to Mecca to pray and to wail on the wall or something or other.
It's like a big stone.
Right. And they throw their women at it.
Okay.
You're supposed to
I get it.
You're supposed to pick your wife up and throw it at the stone.
Instead of stoning the woman, you're womaning the stone. You're womanizing the stone. Wow. They threw their women at the stone. We are definitely going to be in trouble after this one.
Hey, God's got your sense of humor, so I'm good.
Okay, all right.
I don't know about Muhammad. I don't even really care about Muhammad. Okay. I know my God, Christ, he's got a good sense of humor.
All right.
He's laughing right now.
Okay.
So they make this trek, and apparently it's like the Who concert all over again out of Cincinnati.
Oh, boy.
The Coliseum.
What happened?
I saw video footage on Live Leak.
Oh, I got to see that. Because, like, so many people died, it's like kind of, like, how many people died in the Who concert? Like, dozen or something.
Yeah. This is up over 700.
That is
700, and they're saying thousands are injured. Thousands.
700 dead?
Yes.
You couldn't even do that with the largest. How? That's more people than that died at the Beirut bombing.
Right.
It was only like 250.
Right. So I'm watching this video.
That's like 3 times.
I'm like, that's not even possible, right? Well, I'm watching this video, and if you've ever seen, I'm trying to give you a visual. If you took like 500 hot dogs and you stuffed them all through a 4-inch diameter pipe
At the same time? Or
at the
one
same time.
Okay.
And then you just jammed them all through, the hot dogs would actually burst and start to blend together into each other.
What?
Like weave. They would weave into each other.
This was happening with people?
They're in giant, it wasn't a single street. It was a giant, huge open area, and everybody was so smashed and interweaved that people that got out alive were walking across them all as if he was on the road.
No!
Yes!
That's unbelievable.
You couldn't fall in.
So it was like crowd surfing, except you're just walking on.
You couldn't fall in. You would trip over a
So
head.
instead of walking on water, you're just walking on solid surface.
Right. And you couldn't fall in.
But what were they like? Okay, in the Who concert, which by the way, 11 died in the Who concert.
Okay, this is well over 700.
Wow. So in the Who concert, you had an opening, which was the entrance to the arena.
Right.
And you had a crowd of people outside, and they all wanted to push towards the one opening. And so everybody got crushed.
Right.
What were they pushing towards? You said it was a big open area.
Yeah, they're pushing towards Mecca.
Was there like a fenced-in area with an opening?
No.
Well, what?
Buildings, walls.
That is so weird.
Insanity.
I'm gonna have to look at that video.
Absolute insanity. I mean,
check to see if we have a link to that on the on the information side.
Right.
So wow, that's
Here,
amazing.
hold on. Let me see if. No.
Is this the Who concert? What are you playing?
That ain't it. Oh well.
Well, you don't
All
have
right.
to play.
Yeah, you'll get it.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I
look
just
that
want
up,
to show it to you.
Live
It is insane. You go to Live Leak and then click. Just type in Stampede. They call it a Stampede.
Mecca Stampede.
Mega.
Mecca.
Mega Stampede. Okay. And when they said Stampede, call me ignorant. Call me ignorant. I've never heard of this before, but apparently this happens every single year. Hundreds die every year. Hundreds every year. They were like last year 690 died. Year before that 500 died. Year before that 900 died. Okay. So when they said Stampede going to Mecca, I'm like, who let the cows out? Moo. Who let the cows out?
So, and also,
they're not cows. There's no stampede. They're stampeding people on each other.
A stampede means if you have a large crowd, very large crowd, and they all start running in the same direction, and I'm talking full out sprint,
right?
Thousands and thousands of people, and several people fall, and they can't get up because the people behind them are tripping and stepping on top of them, and they get hit so many times by people stepping on them that they end up dying. That's called a stampede.
Right.
But
right.
This doesn't sound like a stampede. This just sounds like
they
crushing.
They were locked. The video that I saw, the guy was up in like an apartment complex videoing the whole open area, if you will, and all you could see were people crushing people, bodies, hundreds of thousands of bodies.
That would be so freaky.
Smashed together. And when I was watching, I started thinking about it. I'm like, you're being smashed.
Could you imagine being one of them people?
Oh, their bodies, you can't move your arms.
Can't move
nothing. And you're like, well, I can get up like that guy got up. No. I don't know how he got up.
He might have, I don't know. That's weird. You would have to probably do some very not good things to get up there.
Yeah, you'd probably have to like kill people or something.
Well, you would have to be able to get up there before you were crushed.
Oh, so what you do is you just cut somebody's head off and use that liquid to help slipper you up.
Oh, like a lubricant.
Yep.
Well, you might have to beg for forgiveness. But, woo!
You know, one of our loyal listeners made a comment, said that the Egyptians, rumor has it, would
allegedly
would lube the ways of getting the blocks up to build the pyramids. They would lube the ways with bodies.
Oh, come on.
Well, you tell our loyal listener, and you know who he is.
Well, you know what? It hasn't been ruled out.
Were they Muslim?
No, they believed in Ra.
Oh, Amun-Ra, the sun god.
Right.
Yep. All right. Well, that about does it for me.
Yeah,
I'm good to go.
We're done with 3 hours.
Woo-wee, folks. Thank you for listening again. Once again, Smith Radio here. We are all over the place for you. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, everywhere. SMYTHradio.com.
See you guys next week.
Peace out.
With unfathomable power.
What kind of power?
Unfathomable. It's without fathom.
And we had a lockup. But it doesn't matter because I got all my audio